Like, hello?
Dude, turn it on! Turn it on! It's starting!
Dude, it's way too, early for Headbangers Ball.
No! Motorcycles and pancakes, you idiot!
Alright, I'm turning it on.
Like, oh my gosh, we're like, Gag Me with a Spoon. We're like totally live or something, like, oh my gosh, how's like, everybody like doing tonight? I swear to God, I'm not going to talk like that all night. I am dressed as I was in the 80s, a metalhead. I don't know if any of you guys can actually believe that or not, but I like to listen to, Metallica a lot. Hello to everybody that is here. Welcome to another live from the Looney Bin. And tonight we're just going to be chatting with our boy Chris Nielsen of, Dirty Destinations. And we'll get into a little bit with him. But what would a live be without the man, the myth, the legend in studio moderating right now? Sean with ADV Oregon. What up, brother? He just... Oh, I should turn your mic on too. Hey, how are you now?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We had some pizzas and we're having our 80s beer. That's not 80s beer, but it's a little bit of the Boner Yard. Absolutely fantastic.
Probably better beer than they had in the 80s.
Without a doubt. I think all they had in the 80s was probably something like what?
Coors Light was all I'd drink.
Banquet beer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when
and they had that one with the blue ribbon.
Oh, Pabst.
Yep.
How could you not know Pabst?
Well, that's why I said the blue ribbon. Show me another beer that's got a blue ribbon.
That's very true. We don't know. So people, tonight is going to be a very interactive night. And I would like to start off the night right now because, whoops, I'm hitting the wrong button. But what I would like, damn it, I need my glasses.
Tech support has left the building.
Critter Moto, my brother, I am looking down right now. Thank you for that. The intro. I hope everybody likes the intros. I freaking love making them. I giggled the whole time doing that. And when I had this vision, I had to go over and get Sean. And Sean's like, what are we doing? What? You want me to do what? I'm like, dude, just throw the ball.
I just assumed crazy nonsense.
Well, that's all you can actually do there. Okay, so I got to bring some stuff up because what I want to do with everybody, I would like you to throw out your guesses on who this is. Oh my Lord. Okay, here we go. Who is this guy right here? Who is this person? Back in the 80s or probably closer to the 90s, I would imagine, but throw it down right now on who you think this pirated suspect could possibly be. A lot of you guys definitely gave a lot of these pictures, and first one, Bartle and James was my 80s drink.
Not wrong.
No, I think everybody went through that and all wanted to sit on the front porch at the same time. And well, that didn't take long. I was thinking this was going to go for a while, but it looks like in the comments that everybody is really popping out that might be a Critter Moto. Are you right or are you wrong? I don't know.
Well, and how are they identifying it? Because of his pecs or what?
There's pecs there. That looks pretty flat there, kid.
Well, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, he's a pirate. I'm surprised it's not pierced. Yar, matey. Meow. Hey, there's a lot of really cool people down here. I'm so appreciative that everybody that's here. Don't forget to hit the like button or the.
Oh, they're cheating. Apparently, it says the name on the top of the picture somewhere.
What?
Oh,
Son of a bitch. All right.
I
So
told you tech support left.
I don't see it. I don't see it. But I
I
guess.
don't either. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Eh,
Well, happy Friday, everybody.
there it is over there. Well, son of a bitch. Okay. Well, Critter, hey, that's you, man. Oh, and Critter shared it before. Damn it. All right, fine. Then we'll stop sharing. Bye. Oh, we got lots more. We do have lots more. And we'll throw one more up. It's kind of funny because, I think the ADV world, there's a lot of us that is actually just older, right? I don't know if that's the right, but I'm 48. Sean is over 50.
Well seasoned.
Yeah, well seasoned. There it is. But some people in this moto community are actually a lot younger than the rest of us. And before I put this up, I am changing the freaking, because I named all the files. So that's what it is. So I'm going to change this file name right now so nobody can figure that one out. But we'll throw another one up here for you guys. Tell me who you think this is right here. So this is freaking hilarious, right? Bam. All right, who's this? Who is this little what turned into be kind of a uh-oh. Sean's got quite the look.
Oh,
What am I missing? What am I missing?
I have no idea who that is.
Well, that's good. Oh boy. So we're gonna leave that up for a minute.
Yes, as soon I can see it in the eyes.
Yep. Well, I thought this was gonna go a lot difficult or more difficult than it's actually going right now.
But that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It is pretty good. Critter, you freaking hit that one out of the ballpark.
Speaking of hitting out of the ballpark, how about that intro?
Yeah, right. How about that intro? I just wanted to be cheesy.
Headbangers Ball was always too late for me.
Oh, you couldn't stay up till
I
midnight?
stayed up for 120 minutes. That was it. You remember that?
No.
Chris did. 120 minutes was the because it was 2 hours. Headbangers Ball was what, 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was only an hour.
Yeah,
It turned to 90 minutes.
See, the real new wave main night show was called 120 minutes, and it was 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what Critter and I watched.
Bangers Ball.
Yeah,
because we were always like, get the script off the TV.
That's exactly. Yeah,
right.
And as soon as 120 minutes was done, Chris and I were done.
Oh, dear baby Jesus. Yeah. So you guys are like, oh, the butt rockers are in. Let's get away. Which is always kind of weird because it would be like, they're gonna bring on like Metallica, and then they would play Rat, like right after it, and then they'd play some hair bands, and then they would, White Snake, and then over to Slayer, and then Sepultura, and then back to like freaking, whatever.
You just lost half your crowd. Oh wait.
Yeah, but the cool ones.
Hey, do you have any special guests here today?
I do. We'll get to him in just a few minutes.
He's taking a nap in that back lobby. I
know his shirt's off too, which is kind of concerning. But yeah, I think so. Real quick, folks, I'm going to bring up and go ahead, and I'm just going to start this because that's what we're talking about. We got some ticker tape tonight, as usual, and the breaking news is there's a lot of breaking news in this world, but we'll bring that up for a minute. So I'm going to touch on it pretty quick here that everybody here, I believe, knows that we were in a little bit of an accident, at the Giant Loop, but, everything's fine. PODcakes is fine. As it says down there, everybody that really came out with all the well wishes, all the text messages and the direct messages and phone calls and, all this stuff. I just truly want to just take another opportunity to say thank you to everybody. This moto community is very special. And I think a lot of us, whether we like it or not, we're chosen family. And we ended up doing a podcast on it. Sean, my dad, and Critter all came on last week. And, it went up last week. And I thought and I think Sean, you did too, and Critter, you can even chime in on the chat with this too. I really thought that this was going to be 30 to 45 minutes tops.
Yeah, I was like, how much can we talk about?
Right. Yeah. I was like, how can we talk about this crash and blah, blah, blah. But what it ended up being was 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think it's captivating 2 hours and 20 minutes. I think a lot of the stuff that was coming out was just, I was in much worse shape than I thought. There were conversations with me that I didn't remember having. I was saying things that I don't remember saying. And that goes along with my dad too. And it goes along with Pancakes. So, I know it was really hard for me to keep up with with all the messages. So with the Pancakes platform being able to be around, I decided to let's just do a podcast on it. And like I said, man, it got into a whole bunch of things that nobody really knew about. And my dad was just like, "Wait, what?" And he was dumbfounded. He was out for so long. So I just wanted to say one more time, and I'm probably not the last time, but thank you to everybody for your support, for the messages, the kind words. I mean, I don't know really what would be going on in my life without the moto community. It's special to me. I've met the best friends of my entire life are here in this community. And I know we don't have too much people watching right now, and I know it's a holiday weekend here in the States, but you know what? The people that are here I love you guys, and I'm so happy that you guys are here, and I don't mind saying that. And if you're listening to that, I want you to know you're in that inner circle and you're a true friend, and I'm forever grateful for this community. So that is that, kids. Um, what's really funny is I want to take my glasses off.
And then you're blind as a bat.
And then I can't read the comments.
Yeah.
Because I keep looking up. I see, the lighting in front of me shining off my glasses. I'm like, well, that's stupid. So, Clever Swine, you were riding the Black Hills BDRX last weekend. Oh, man. That sounds like a fantastic ding time for sure. Hey, Matt with Ladle Sports, we're going to talk about you for a half second. You came down here last week, spent a couple days here in the neighborhood. We had a couple of really rad dinners with you and your wife. It was fantastic. It was so good hanging out with you and having some beers and just chit-chatting and being able to see that freaking sexy Africa twin of yours. I definitely
You drooled a little bit, didn't you?
No, I didn't drool a little bit, dude. Like the wind blew wrong, something would happen. So it's a beautiful bike, man. I had a great time too. Man, I am so happy for you and that bike and all the conversations we got to have about it. Really enjoyed having you and your wife here, and it was just super rad. And you guys are down at the coast or something right now, trying to get away the heat. And so that's rad. Stay cool over there. Yeah. So anyways, Clever Swine, I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Maybe throw some Who's Bay today. Go to, oh my gosh, I forget the name of it. Is it Grandma's or Mom's? There's a restaurant there on Main Street in Coos Bay. It's either Grandma's Place or Mom's Place or something like that. It looks fantastic. Absolutely, you should definitely check that place out. Faux show. Okay, so did we get everything done?
I think we did.
Did we get this community all done, dude?
Yep.
Oh boy,
Got them all worked up.
We definitely got them worked up. Yeah, but
Friday night, and clearly everybody here has the same life we do.
Yeah, I know, right? They're just gonna hang out and cheers to everybody. Hopefully, you're having your tasty beverage of choice. CRF 300L Rally was way more fun than I expected. Suspension is hated on, but it worked for me. That sounds pretty freaking rad, actually. Okay, well, we are getting ready to take that off the screen. We're going to bring on our guest here in just a moment, but I think we should throw up another. I got to change the names again. So while we're doing that, this lady, that's what I'm going to name it. It's this lady. And she is actually not here right now. She is doing a super secret, top secret thing this weekend. And oh my God, this is freaking hilarious. So we are going to see who can figure out who this is, if it will bring up. Come on now. Chicow. There we go. Who is this? Anybody know who this person is? Look at that hair, bro. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we're going to bring it up here in a minute. Oh, no, Critter's wrong.
Good guess.
Good guess, but Critter is wrong right there. We're going to bring her picture up here in a few more minutes. And if you want to get in on the action, you can either email a picture of yourself from the 80s, or if you were younger, like, I don't know, Valkyrie, and you were still a child in the 80s and maybe not born yet, send us a high school picture, and that'll be just as good. No, Misty is not it. Tiffany and Misty. Nope. Steph. Nope. That's not it either.
Tracy, good guess.
Yep.
But nope.
Yep. There's going to be a few that you're going to get on here and you're going to be like, oh, obviously know who that is. Right. Because some people just haven't changed very much. And we had that conversation about one, and oh my gosh, I can turn that banner off. Holy moly. Still rolling. There we go. Okay. So I'm just waiting for a thumbs up from our guy in the
He
background.
gave it to you. We're good.
Okay. So we're going to bounce you out. And we are going to bring on Chris with Dirty Destinations. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight?
Hey, man, I'm good. Really good. Excited to be here. I
Dude,
made the
am
big.
so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy that you were on. Like when I asked you, I was like, dude, I hope he's going to go with this. And you're like, yes.
Oh yeah,
You're like,
I made the
"Absolutely."
big show. And this is it. I made the big time. Woo!
Well, I don't know about the big time. There's somebody else on here that lives in Nanaimo that's a wee bit bigger than everybody else, and that's the big time. So we're just prepping you for that. But there's a few things. So I've been, as usual, when people come on here, I absolutely stalk the socials, right? So I've gone through the YouTube channel and all your Instagrams, right? So I don't know where else you are at the moment.
That's it.
But
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And for the record, I sent you a friend request like a month ago, and it did nothing. So I was like, all right, fine. Doesn't want to talk to me there. Facebook.
On Facebook. Well, that's why. Yeah, I'm not on Facebook. What are we looking at, Sean?
Well, my live went back to a photo or two videos of us in the beginning.
Oh, is everybody's live going crazy at the moment? Let us know, because YouTube might be doing something weird.
Mine's not.
I see what you're doing. So anyways, I'm going to look back in there.
Maybe they're all good.
Looks like that.
Backwards.
Yep. Okay. So it just looks like it's probably just Sean. So
What you're looking for.
these are not the droids you're looking for. So anyways, the Facebook thing, I am never on Facebook. So if anybody has ever given me a friend request on there, you have to go through Instagram to tell me you did that. And then I'll make sure I click it on there. But as of now, it's Instagram or the okay, he's back now. It's either Instagram or the YouTubers for me. So
I retract my dirty eye.
Well, I'm glad you did, man. I'm really glad you did. So one of the things that I really was very interested in, and I need to kind of step back a little bit, but one of the things that I really was very I don't know what the right word is. Like, I watched your Iron Butt video, and I got to tell you, it's about a 7-minute video. I wish it was longer. I think that video was so good. I think everybody here, in fact, Sean, if you have an extra deal, could you go to Dirty Destinations YouTube and then, well, I can probably do that too, and then just put up the link so people can copy it. I think that video should have been longer, but I also thought, because I was feeling I felt like you set up a lot of just the personal drama of what an iron butt does. And for people that don't know what an iron butt is, which I think everybody here does, but for those who may not, why don't you describe a little bit of just what the iron butt actually is?
Well, obviously, it's a ride. It's for some people, I guess, it's a bucket list. There's the entry level. The first level is it's the same length. It's either, if you're riding in the States, it's called the Saddle Sore 1000, which is 1,000 miles, or if you're riding outside of the United States, it's the Saddle Sore 1,600 for 1,600 kilometers, which is the same distance. You have to, from the time you start, so you're like, whenever you decide, okay, I'm going to start my ride now, you fill your bike up at a gas station, get the receipt, take a picture of the receipt against your odometer, and from the time you take that photo, you're on the clock, and you have 24 hours to seal the deal on your 1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometers. And then you have to like, there's a log, you have to journal everything, or at least keep notes, take pictures along the way, and then send like a link for the route you have, and you send it to the Iron Butt Society, and they're way backlogged because it's a volunteer group. But in about 2 months, they review. They'll check your receipts. They'll double check what you're saying, or Google Earth, whatever it is you're using to verify your route. And if you make it, then you're officially an Iron Butt rider, and you get like the little stickers and patch and blah blah blah, and then you can officially, So while I say I'm an Iron Butt rider, it's not official. I can't make that because I'm not part of the society yet, but I've put my application in.
Right.
But it is a ride. It is the ride. Oh, it's long. It's, for me, on a KLR, which are not fast bikes, it was a 19 and a quarter hour, so 19 hours and 15 minutes. I don't think I was off the bike for more than 10 minutes at any point.
That is pretty impressive. I think for me, at some point, that is a definite bucket list thing that I would like to do. I've been close, kind of.
It's funny you say that. I dropped a hint, and Critter picked up on it at the end when that video is rolling out. I say, I think there's a Van Isle 1,600. There is. Okay, there's the video. So that is crossing Spencer's Bridge. So I deliberately timed it. So where we live, obviously, in the Pacific Northwest, June is the time to do it because it's when the days are longest. So you can ride. I started at 3 a.m. It's twilight at 4, so I only had dark for an hour when I was riding out to get into the mountains, and then I had just the last shot that shows I'm driving over a big bridge, and you can see it's twilight. So I spent almost the whole day in daylight, but not sunshine, as you can see, because I had rain, I had everything under the sun for weather. But I timed it so that my eastern route, because I have to drive east and I didn't want to drive into the sun, so I wanted to get my eastern run nailed down before the sun was up. And then when the sun popped up, generally it was beside me. In that one little shot, you could see it was a little bit at my eyes, but generally it was beside me or above me or behind me for the rest of the trip.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't understand what it's like. They're just like, okay, you're going to go for 1,000 miles, right? Yeah, I think that's a big number because, all the trucking I've done through my life, you talk about like, a lot of days you're 750 miles just trucking. And people are like, oh, dang, I can barely do like 200 miles, right? I can barely do 200 miles in my car. All right, 300 miles tops is like insane, right? So I think it's pretty rad when you're like, there's a lot to go into the riding. It is just not getting on the motorcycle and just starting up and just going, right? There's planning. You've got to be hydrated. You've got to make sure you got your food with you. And I think it starts, 1 or 2 days before you even leave. You got to make sure you're being hydrated and everything before you leave. You got to make sure especially, I don't know how it is up there. Down here, it's pretty easy if you're going to do an iron butt to not worry about fuel, but maybe that's a concern in some of the places that you went. I think, I just think it's a cool thing, and it's freaking rad that you actually did it and you put it all together. And you said something about the bicycle shorts. And somebody
That
gave you
was
that.
that was my friend. So my boss, who's like one of my closest friends, he's a rider. He actually just got a new bike. We're really excited to go riding with him. But he had done one a couple of years ago, the same route. And I said, so what are the things I got to like what are the inside tips? And he said, do you have bicycle shorts? And I said, no, I don't have bicycle shorts. And he said, you go get some bicycle shorts with padding. It'll help. And I'm telling you, that bought me an extra couple hours. It's still, by the time I got to Prince George, which was 6 hours in, so like a third of the way, my bum was already like sore and unhappy. But
Yeah.
it made it so that it wasn't like pins and needles. Unfortunately, because it's an adventure bike, or big dual sport, whatever class you want to drop a KLR into, unlike a lot of other bikes, as you well know, we can stand up. So there was big stretches where I could see the road was straight and there was nothing around me. It was just like 110K standing up on the pegs, whistling down the road all by myself in the mountains, keeping the pressure off the backside.
Yeah.
and
I would be standing up quite a bit myself too.
and
Absolutely, for sure. And I like the map you're doing here too. Off
okay, that's an
the
app.
Never Relive. Yeah.
That app is so easy to use. The two apps that I use Gaia as a GPS and tracking
And a
and,
boy.
and route planning.
Did you hear that, Ladle Sport?
So I use Gaia, and then I just export out it like in my phone. I write this on my phone. Just export from Gaia straight into the Relive app, and it drops it in. I'd ask you, do you want to put photos in? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do the photos. But so it'll give me my little route, and then Bob Drunk will drop it into a video. I also have a Garmin Zumo on the bike as a fallback. Both my bikes have those as well, but I don't use them for tracking. I just use them for what's next, because they have the Garmin Zumo. Here's my plug for Garmin Zumo. Does a pretty good job at not getting lost. I discovered when I first got the KLR 2 years ago, I did the Olympic Peninsula, and there's a function where you can say, take me the scenic route, and it will take you on this absolutely wild like route that you never would have considered if you didn't know about it. And it took me off in all sorts of weird tangents and places that I had never would have thought to go. And I was like, this is really cool. I like this feature. So
that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. So we're back to the beginning here. So we're gonna go ahead and just bam.
But that ride,
yeah, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
I was just going to say that ride. So many people that video. Thank you for saying you wish it were longer. I would have liked to have made it longer. The problem is I spent so much time in the rain that the footage was poo. So I was like, okay, I've got enough to make a 5 or 6 minute video with some decent shots.
I get that. Yeah.
I'll do my best with that and try. And then like that one, the voiceover I had to do that. I tried it in one take, and that was not easy. So I gave up on that. So I had to do it in bits and pieces, and it still took me like an hour to get all the voiceover bits dropped in, and where I was at least passably happy with it. That video is the best video that I've ever had. It has outperformed everything else I've ever done. Actually, when you and I were talking the other day, I was wrong. I said it was at 10,000. It's not. It's close to it. I think it's at like 9,500 right now or something, or 9,300.
Yeah, I'm showing. So what I've learned about YouTube is what it shows and what it is different.
Okay.
So right now it's showing 9.3 thousand. So roughly 9,300 views,
Okay.
which is legit. Let's be real. That is legit. But I bet if you got in your YouTube studio, it'd probably be more than that.
Okay.
Don't know why, but I notice on my videos, it'll say it's, let's just say 500, but I'll get in my studio and it's like 525 or something. There's always a little discrepancy. I don't know if everybody else is like that or if it's just me, but Critter, is that like same with you or whatever? But I think that video was really good. I thought the voiceover, what you were saying was good. And I think it really creates a lot of drama too. You're talking about what town was it you were getting into? You're like, dude, I think I might be done. And then it's like, no, your stomach or whatever was telling you to get off the bike for a minute.
Oh, well, actually, it wasn't my stomach. It was my whole body. So that was one of the things, because I knew that, it's a big ask to do that. And it's, as I said, it's so easy. If somebody was watching that, like, a novice rider, and okay, and for the record, I consider myself a novice rider. I've only been riding, like, just coming up on my 3-year anniversary of ever being on a bike. So, it's like, it's not just to get on and go. I didn't do any training. A lot of people have messaged me and said, did you do practice rides, like, 600, 800, build your way up to it? I was like, no, I just threw down and did it. Up until then, my previous longest ride was actually a month ago, or a month, not even a month, 2 weeks before that, when we were in Alberta riding with ADV Riley. We had like a 480 kilometer day in the mountains and on the highways and that in Alberta. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And I wanted to do it by myself. So.
Yeah. I think doing it by yourself creates a more of a mental kind of challenge, for sure. So
yeah,
while you're talking about that, we have, I've been monitoring a little bit of the emails, been getting some emails coming in too.
Yeah.
So Eric Talbert, this is you, bro. I love the serious look. Just the hair and everything. Just like, that's right. What's up, ladies? Where you at? Where you at? Look at that.
Yeah, that's almost a Dwayne Johnson smolar.
Almost. I love it. Come on, folks. We need some more. Well, we've got a lot, but this is great.
Just quickly to double back, though, you were saying about the tired. Yeah, I was coming into clear water. It was about the 60% part. And I actually blinked. Like, I was on the bike, and I actually had one of those, like, and I was like, oh God, I got to get off the bike. Because the next nod might not be good. So I got off, chugged a coffee, some water, ate a bunch of granola bars, rubbed my ass. The guy in the gas station thought I was weird, just wandering around feeling my bum the whole time. I'm like, I was trying to get the blood back into it. Had a look at Buzz, make certain he hadn't come off the bike, and it was all right, time to go. Carry on. And then I found
well, keep going. I'd like to get into Buzz here in a few minutes.
Sure thing. Then I found my second wind about half an hour later, just when I was crawling into Kamloops, and then it was just, I knew, like, it was like, all right, I've got this. Like, it's done. It's in the bag. I know, like, the run from Kamloops home, I've done it many, 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 many times from hunting and other stuff that I've done. So I was like, yeah, piece of cake, easy highway.
Nice. Oh yeah, dude. So what was besides, you wanting to get done, you need to take a break, eye on the prize, you're going to get this done. What was maybe give me one more, like something that was very mentally challenging for you during this, and then also tie it in with something that was one of the more positive and just like awe-inspiring moments during this trip? Because I know when I do things that are mentally challenging, you're back and forth, like, this absolutely sucks. Why am I doing this? This is the greatest thing ever. I am so happy I'm here.
You know what? I don't know if I can answer that question, Ian. So I'll give my best. I'll tell you what, like, so when I said I was going to do it, it was just like, I've gotten really good. For those of you that know, so the reason a little personal history, I didn't ride up until 3 years ago because my wife at the time said, no, you're not a bicycle you're not a motorbike guy. And I was like, what does that mean? And like, but no. And then within months of that relationship coming to an awkward and unexpected close, I was like, I'm going to start doing stuff for me just to get out of my headspace there. And I got on a bike. And my brother was very encouraging, so I don't know if Rick's logged in or not, but Shoestring ADV, my brother, he was constantly encouraging me to go for it, and jumped on, and he's always been backing me. So I thought, okay, I want to ride. And I've discovered, as Chris pointed out in many videos, and as we all know, there's a lot of therapy to be had just in like, you get on a bike and you ride and you find your own little bubble and you can solve the problems of the world. So I set out with this challenge to ride, not with a preconceived expectation other than to tell myself I can do this, because that's what I've been doing. It's like, you know what? There's a mountain I want to climb. Well, not a climb, but there's a trail that I want to get to the top of. I can do this.
Right.
There's something I want to do. I can do this, or at least I'm going to give it a solid shot. So I decided I wanted to tackle an iron, but I wanted to do it. It was like, okay, if I'm going to go for a bucket list sort of thing, I'm going to do it on a significant day. So that's why I picked my 50th birthday, which threw my parents off no end. They were like, so what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, nothing. What do you mean? I said, I've got plans. Well, what are you doing? I'm going on a bike ride. Who are you going with? Nobody. Where are you going? I'll be gone for the day. Well, how long? All day. So what can we do? You watch my dog. So, like I was being really cryptic and finally told him, I said, listen, I'm taking this ride challenge and I don't want to advertise it too much just in case I don't pull it off. And they said, okay. So they knew, Rick knew, and that was about it. And then,
So when you talk about Rick, you talk about this guy?
That guy. Oh, his beautiful hair. The girls. He would walk through high school. So Rick's 2 years, believe it or not, even though he doesn't look it, he's 2.5 years older than me. And
Okay.
And he would walk through the hall. So Rick and I were both metalhead headbangers, like what you with your. That's, I don't know if you heard when we were setting up, and I said, Ride the Lightning is like one of my all-time favorite Metallica albums.
Oh, 100%. I missed
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
like, and we would. I didn't have the long hair because I was telling you, like, I was a cadet, so I had to have my hair short. But I was jean jackets, the high top sneakers that are loose at top and sort of flopping around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Jeans so tight that your leg hair are like squeezing out through them and squeak when you walk. But he would walk down the high school halls, and the girls would fawn at his hair and like, it's so shiny and soft. How do you do that? And you're like, I don't know, just wash it.
Yeah, long hair back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. That's pretty rad, man. Yeah, I love all these pictures everybody's sending in. And by the way, if you are in the chats, hey, Damon's here. What's up, brother? If you're in the chats and you're gonna email something to Motorcycles and Pancakes, one of your pictures or something, will you please just put it in the comments so Sean and I can see it and I know to go check at that. Critter, you've got the question coming up right here. And we're actually gonna get into that, but right before we do, can I make fun of myself? I think that'd be great. Yeah. Where'd it go? So, oh dear baby Jesus, I am so sorry, everybody. This is yeah. So, a lot of you guys know I played in a band for a while, and back in high school, I wanted to be in a band really bad. So we got the boys together. We wore matching T-shirts. And we did like a photo shoot for the dude that you'll see next to me with the red hair sticking up. His name is Paul, but it was his senior year, so I think I'm a junior here.
Last name Stanley.
Yeah, no. I think I'm a junior here, and yeah. Let the comments come. Bring it, everybody. It's fine. That is what is called a power mullet. If you didn't know, it was amazing. Kind of the same thing. I was a little bit behind you guys, so the long hair like that became a mullet, and it was the same thing. The ladies liked it, I guess. I don't know. Oh man! So we're gonna get into Critter's question right now. So why don't you tell us a little bit about? Oh, I just took it off too. Sorry, I put it back on. Wherever it went, here we are. Wrong one. So tell us about the cadets. Critter wants to know Air, Army, Sea. I think it's pretty obvious which one you were in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why don't you get into that and how it actually became a thing?
Okay. Well, I was a Sea Cadet, and the reason I joined was my parents actually have a recreational property on a Gulf island up the coast, and the friends that I had there were from. They were actually, one lived in Courtenay, the other one lived down in Saanich. Yeah, there I am. And at summertime, they all of a sudden they were going to camp, and I was like, my friends aren't going to be around, so I thought I'd check out this cadet thing that was drawing my friends away, and I really liked it, and joined up, went through as a cadet doing the different developmental programs, and then when I was 16 years old, I got accepted into the marine engineering program. So when I was 16 and a half, I was at Esquimalt for 3 months, and I got my Department of National Defense engineering certificate, which is not the cadet certificate. It's actually a Canadian Navy certificate for A-class oiler and engineer for small vessels. So all through high school, weekend and summer job was engineering naval training vessels up and down the coast, and then parlayed that into a career on the water.
So I hear a lot of you guys say cadets and stuff. So Sean, are you familiar with what that is over there?
Mhm.
So is that a little bit more like our ROTC? Same thing?
That's my impression. Yeah.
Okay. That makes
Okay.
more sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. No. It would be similar. ROTC. That's a school program. They're like they're at school. And
Well, let me clarify the distinction of our side of it. There's JROTC, and then there's ROTC. So
right.
JROTC is the high school level, whether it be Army or Navy, JROTC. And then ROTC is a direct collegiate path into an officer program in one of the branches.
Okay.
So I think for me, if you're at 15, 16, and we have Sea Cadets here as a JROTC program.
Okay.
So
Yeah. For us,
like
for us, it's so the cadet program in Canada is actually nationally funded. It's jointly funded by at the local level. So you'd have a local corps, and that corps would be half funded by the sponsoring body of the league, and the other half would be funded by Department of National Defense, which supplies the big ticket items and the officers to manage it. And it's an evening, like one evening a week, 1 weekend a month, and then all the other stuff is optional training, and then there's summer camps and that. So it's not a full-time, you do this every day thing. It's
So in that regard, we have Sea Cadets that they go down onto Swan Island in Portland, and it is, I would say, it's not affiliated with any high school and more of like a Boy Scouts type of a program.
that would be a closer fit. I know that at the camp I used to work at up at Comox, the USC cadets would come up regularly, and we would joint train. So yeah, that was it was a, like, I got no regrets. Like, that's the one thing. Although I had no idea what a summer in town looked like until I graduated trade school, because I was always out on the water. So I was like, oh, so this is what the city's like in the summer. I don't know if I like it.
Nice. Well, that's good to clarify, because I think some of us are just like, okay, what exactly is this? I know Critter was a part of it.
Mhm.
I think you put what he was saying in there somewhere, but I'm not in that page.
I'll go back. Oh, it's right here on top. I'll just put it up on the page.
Yeah, there you go.
Amphin. And we're close to the same age. You probably know the Strazas. Unhappy little people.
There you go. Unhappy little peoples.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Oh, this was right there. Yeah, it wasn't too far. So that's kind of cool, And then you said, what was the engineering program? Marine engineering?
Yeah, it was marine engineering. So basically it was damage control school, and basic heavy duty mechanical knowledge. And so I'm on a 75-foot, 75-ton training vessel that had a couple of 671s. That was the entry level boat. And we'd have to be able to draw pretty much every system on that boat by memory, and then we'd sit down and do the exact same board that Navy engineers would do to be able to engineer it. And the biggest boat I engineered was a boat called the Glendevan. It's a yacht now. It was a ex-Navy tug, and it had a 398 cat. So the main engine was a 765 horsepower. I'm trying to think displacement. I think they're around 24 liter. They're the size of a small car, the engine, and the boat was 86 feet, like 90 tons.
Oh, wow.
Go.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty rad, man. So
yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. How long was that again?
How long did I do that for?
Yeah.
Well, I got my ticket when I was 16. So, because the program is backed by Department of National Defense, when you're no longer a youth, and in Canada that's 19, you age out. You can't stay a cadet anymore. So it was 3 years as an engineer, and then I aged out, and I was out on Civvy Street for a couple of years, and I was like, oh, there's a piece of me missing. So I went back to my local corps and started volunteering, and ended up actually re-enlisting, or shouldn't I re-enlisting, but rejoining the unit as a civilian volunteer. And then when a billet opened up, I went through the recruiting process, and am a Navy lieutenant. And there's a difference between a lieutenant Navy and a HAU lieutenant. Sean will appreciate that statement.
He's chuckling. He's shaking his head. Yes.
That's the same as there's
you like there, Sean?
there's yes sir captains and hey you captains. So,
Yeah, buddy.
and yeah, so that's when somebody says, "Are you part of the forces?" I say, "Yeah, I'm a member of the Canadian Armed Forces." But qualifier, cadet officer.
Yeah.
So my instruction, my trade is actually youth instruction and coaching.
Youth instruction and coaching. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice, man. So I think we're gonna have to take it back a little bit because I haven't learned too much about you in the early days. You know, I mean, we went through a little bit of the teenage stuff, but what would your brother say growing up with you would be like?
Oh, he hated me. You couldn't put us in the same room until we were both well out of high school. Until he moved out,
Oh,
actually.
really?
Oh yeah.
Seriously?
And it wasn't that. It wasn't that I was a little turd. I don't know, he might say I was, or at least that might have been his impression at the time. But it is the classic. He was 2.5 years older than me, so we're close enough together that we liked similar stuff. But he was with his cool for he was driving before me, and my parents would be like, he's like, "Hey, can I borrow the car? I want to go out with my friends." And they said, like, "You got to take your little brother along." And be like, "I don't want to take him. He's a killjoy. He's annoying." "No, you can't have the car if you don't take your little brother with you." So you're like, "Yeah, okay, fine, get in." We get to the other block. You're like, "Get out, go walk around. I don't care what you do, but you're not coming with us." Fair enough. And I hold no grudges. I wind the clock back. I probably would have done the same thing.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I think it totally would have been the same thing. I had an older sister, and there's probably times where it was like kind of the same thing. It's just a killjoy, right? So,
But yeah, it's amazing once he moved out, and I was on my own living with my parents, and then as you get older, that age gap narrows and gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And actually, what I can say, Rick and I have always been very close. Like my nuclear family is like mom, dad, me, and Rick. We're very, very tight knit, and we're one of those little groups where if you do get into the inner circle, that's privileged territory, and if you louse it up, you probably won't ever get back in.
Like most.
And post separation and divorce and start riding, like riding has actually been a huge bonding element for me and Rick. I've spent more time with my brother in the last 3 years on the back of a bike than I did with him in the previous 20.
Oh yeah, I can understand that for sure. But you said back at the bike, so I think a lot of us have my main thought and like, oh, you guys are riding two up together.
No, just
yeah. So you were saying like when you were married, right? So the wife unit was like, you're not gonna ride, right? And I think that happens more times than we would like to admit. But what interested you in riding, and what brought up that conversation for for the ultimate no? But I mean, how long have you been interested in learning how to ride?
Well, it was probably, I was married, I was with her 16 and a half odd years. And I'd say at least 10 or 12 of that, I was curious. And then in the last 4 or 5, I was really like, no, I want to do it. So I actually bought Rick his first bike. It's a funny story. He really wanted a bike, and I didn't think that he would be able to make it work financially. I mean, he made plenty of money, but because he's self-employed and the way the numbers work, I thought, I don't know that you're going to get it. So I went and bought it behind his back and didn't tell him. Told his friend, I've got the bike, don't tell him. And I was going to be house sitting for him in a couple of weeks. So I stored the bike at work. And apparently he had gone in like that day or the day after I bought it. And there was like, in the line of motorcycles, there was a missing tooth, which was that bike. And he was like, it's not here. And they said, yeah, some guy came in, laid the cash down and walked away with it. Sorry. And I had told the guys at the bike shop, don't describe me, like, don't say nothing. And they were like, okay. Because they knew who he was.
Don't say nothing, guy.
Well, right? He would, apparently, I don't know, this is what I was told by our friend Jim, but like they were working in the area, and like almost every day he'd go by the bike shop and sort of look at it and sit on it and sort of rub it and drool on it. And then, and then one day it wasn't there, and he was a little bit disappointed. And so while I was house sitting, I got help to bring the bike home. And when I left the house, because I was like, okay, I'm not going to be there when you get home. I'll just have everything locked up. So I left the house, but I had rolled the bike because he had a split level where I could roll a bike through a sliding door into the TV room. I just rolled it into the TV room, put the kickstand down, left the keys in it, put a note on it. It's an interest-free loan, as you can, when you can. Don't kill yourself, or mom and dad won't ever talk to me. And that was it. And apparently the first thing he said when he walked through the door and he saw it sitting in his living room was, "That's not Lego." And the reason for that is, when we were kids, my dad took my brother down to the local Honda shop, or I don't know, motorcycle shop, and put him on like a 50 or an 80 or something like that, and got him all excited, and then went home and told my parents, "Oh yeah, we're going to get him a bike." And my mom said, "Oh no, you're not." So Rick at Christmas was expecting a dirt bike, and he got a Lego set, and that became a theme for a number of years.
Nice.
So when he finally saw the little bike he wanted, and it was a bike. It was a CBR 400, which was never released in Canada. It was a company called Atlas Bikes, and what they would do is they go to Japan and buy really, really gently used bikes, and they'd bring them back. And it's always models that you can't get in Canada. And it was a sweet little CBR 400. He rode it and rode it and rode it and rode it until he outgrew it, and then he got a VTR 1000 and rode that for a while, and then he stopped riding for a little bit, and then decided that being a family man and having a twin cylinder crotch rocket was not going to maybe be conducive to family riding or doing stuff like that. So he sold it and got enough out of that to get the KLX that he has, Newton, and hasn't looked back. And we 4x4'd and off-roaded a lot as kids, so it was a really clean fit. And then he would send me photos of, I got up to this today, and I got up to that day, and I'd look at these pictures of him and his bike on some mountaintop or wherever the hell he was, and I'd be like,
You're like, yeah.
I want to do that. So I go and talk to my wife and be like, hey, I'm thinking of getting my bike license. Oh no, I know what bike riders are. My first husband rode a bike. You're not a bike guy. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? How do we know? Like, I'm pretty good at certain things. I mean, maybe I should try it and decide if I like it or not. Maybe I'll scare myself and say, hell no. But nope, I just rolled over and let it pass. And that's my only regret with riding. Only regret with riding is letting somebody say no for so bloody long.
Yeah.
That's a good quote.
What was that, Sean?
I said that's a good quote.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent quote for sure.
Words to live by.
Yeah, I think we've all been there a time or two, but maybe not you, Sean.
No, but
you wear the pants. I get it.
No, it was a mutual thing. She just kind of knew that's who I was from the beginning, and I'm not going to change him. And she's never tried. But I probably am on the fortunate side of that coin. You know, I think more people are on the other side than my side.
Yeah, unfortunately. But so you guys did a lot of four-wheeling as a fam.
Yep.
Which probably is a good segue to letting people know, like, what in the world is going on right here.
That's just a couple days ago. That's
yeah, I watched this today and I was just like, oh man, he is stuck.
Yeah, well, that's why, like, if you watch the video, it's like, yep, that's right, folks, from water's edge to stuck in 50 seconds. It's like,
yep.
Yeah, so I'm not, like, I love my little Jeep. It's one of the toys I have. The reason I have it actually is where we hunt. We used to hunt with ATVs, and they disallowed it in the area we hunt. So I bought this little Jeep and I fixed it up, and I decided I'd go with a military motif because I'd lean that way. And I'm sorry?
Yeah, dude. No, I'm watching you walk around and knowing that this was a pretty recent deal, and going back to when you and your brother were riding up in the motorcycle. So the first part of this video, these guys, him and his brother are riding up on the motorcycles, and then he decides to go back in the Jeep to see how much further he can get, and he got about this far. And it's a great video. Go watch it. It's cool. It's got some good music in the background and stuff, and he's essentially trying to get stuck. But I'm watching you walk around in this water, and before you guys got up there, you were following the river, and the river was that that like
Or
green color,
well,
but
yeah,
it's like
it's like alpine silt, so or glacial and alpine
yeah,
silt. So it's that
it
that
reminded me of when I was growing up doing a lot of mountain climbing with Cakes, and you get glacier runoff, and it turns the kind of the water that color is what it reminded me. And then I'm seeing you walk around literally balls deep around this stuff, and I'm just like, it's got to be cold.
somebody Chris asked me that actually in one of the comments. We were chatting about it, and to be honest with you, I don't remember the temperature of water at all. So
Really?
well, in that frame, so I'm 55 kilometers from the edge of asphalt, and where asphalt and gravel meet is 30 kilometers outside of the closest town. And I knew because I was the first person up this road this far, based on the tracks that I could see. The next closest camp is 12 kilometers away. The next closest main is 20 kilometers away. And I'm way out in the rhubarb by myself thinking, oh, okay. And the first thing, like,
Rhubarb?
yeah,
It's Canadian, dude. Let it go.
yeah. You're out in the rhubarb weed patch. You're out in the back. You're in a place you probably don't want to be.
Sean, yeah, he's really confused. I'm glad you're explaining that to him right now.
So, I thought, like, like when you have like a serious crisis situation, well, and you do know about serious crisis situations, how fast your brain is firing, how fast thoughts are coming and going out of your brain. And the first thing that fired through my brain was, okay, you got to get out of this. And like that lasted a second, and then the next fire thing that went was like, okay, if you don't get out, what's plan B, plan C, plan D? Plan B was to use the Zolio, message my brother and say, hey, I know it's Canada Day. I know you have plans to go out and see a concert with your wife and kids, but I need you to go to my house, grab my truck, grab the tow bar, grab the salvage gear, and come up to where I am because I've done something stupid. And then wait for the, yeah, I'll be there when I get there, sometime tonight message.
Morning.
Yeah. And or if like, yeah, no, sorry, whatever. And then it'd be like, all right, then I'm hiking out. And because of the way I operate, I've always got gear. So it's like my emergency pack is like, I could live with that backpack for probably 3 days if I had to. So it's like, all right, I'm not in serious trouble, but I'm in a pickle. So,
right.
And with the adrenaline rush of like, okay, I'm stuck. I got to get out of this because there's not like there's another truck coming down the road in 10 minutes. I don't remember the temperature of the water. I don't recall feeling it. I remember it being cool, but I wasn't shaking or cold or shivering. So,
oh man. Well, I wonder, it's a lot of difference, because I think, squeak, squeak. Okay. But I think, living in the area that I live in, getting out into the wilderness takes a minute. Not that long, but it does take a minute, and it's really kind of nice being able to know, like, you actually pack for it. You got your survival bag and all of that jazz in there, because I don't think a lot of people think about doing stuff like that. When those are usually people you read about, in a couple days, they've been missing and didn't have, the right stuff for the elements or whatnot.
well, I think that's true. And actually, because of what I do for a living, I encounter a lot of people in their less than ideal circumstance, not prepared for what they're doing.
Right.
But the training I had as a cadet instructor to be able to teach children how to go out in the forest and survive and do this and all, like, we have a certain degree of our own training. So it's just the idea of going out ill prepared to become a statistic, to me, like, it makes my brain itch, which is why even like when we were out riding in Alberta, I came off my CRF, and it took two of us to stand it back up because of the gear had on it. It's like, oh God, it's awkward angle. And I was a little tired and it was like, yeah, no, it's feeling kind of heavy. So I was like, this bike's supposed to be 300 pounds. I'm like, no, it's 300 pounds without all this crap hanging off of it.
Right. And then you add on another 200 pounds of just gear. Yeah. That's kind of crazy for sure.
So,
okay, folks, here's another one. We're going to have to figure out who this is. And there's a couple of you in here. I I think, oh, yes, friends, throttle lover, thank you. Don't forget to smash that like button, friends. That's huge. If you haven't done that yet, please go do it. That would be super sweet sauce. Thank you for that. We are going to bring somebody else, another picture up. And let's see who can. I'm going to say Brittany, and let's go with Critter. Trying to think who else. There's a few people that are not going to know. Oh, who will know who this is? But anyways, who's this, everybody? Come on, Meow. Who is this? She really has not changed at all. At all. Do. Waiting for the comments. Who do you think that is, Mr. Dirty Destinations?
Yeah, nothing.
Valkyrie, I said you don't get to do this.
Well, you didn't complete your instructions.
Damn it.
Well, that
Right.
that reaction just sort of sold the farm. It was like, you can't do this. Are you saying
No,
that because she's right?
100%. That is Tracy. She's actually has some breaking news right now. We should probably put that back up. She's got some cracks in her butt thing there, or her rear has some cracks in it. You got that there? Yeah. I did just say her name. I am very sorry. I probably should have. Oh, Pancakes is here. The tire chain is complete. So what we mean by that, folks, is if you watch the breaking news that's going across the screen right now, the drama continues as Tracy's Nomad Adventure rear has a crack in it, and only Pancakes can fix it. That to me is freaking hilarious. A lot of you are probably like, what in the world? So Tracy gets a hold of me. She's down here. She's doing some of her trip. She's actually, I think, staying with Brittany right now. And she has a rear tire that is shot, essentially. She says it has some cracks in it and stuff. So she was going to come down and Apex was going to do it. But I didn't check with Apex beforehand, and they are actually closed until Tuesday. And so she has some plans and really needed to get that tire on. So I was like, I don't know if you're going to come over here today or if we can find another tire. So where she is in the city with Brittany, there is a cycle gear. She ended up buying a tire, and then Pancakes with all the tire chain and stuff and tire balancer. She went up to his house. So that's what that means. Only Pancakes can help. So she went up there, and I don't know what's going on up there now.
Way to go, Ron.
I know.
Hip, hip.
Taking care of the kids.
It's that ADV community. I'm telling you, it's a family.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 100%. So it's pretty good. So Pops, I know you're on here. Tell us, how did that go? Give us the deets here in the comments there, Papa. Let me know. Don't make me call you, because I can call you on air. So we can do that too. Anyways, so where were we? Talking about four-wheeling and you getting stuck. And let's go really back.
And being prepared.
And being prepared. That's a big thing, dude.
Well, for a really good deal.
There you go. He's offering a really good deal right there.
What size?
Yeah, I would take it, folks. I would take it. That is freaking classic. I think the prepared thing, what I was about to say is, it's pretty rad. I know you teach it and everything, but once upon a time, my dad goes out. This is just a quick little sidebar tangent right here. He's probably going to be pissed that I'm going to talk about this, but here we go. I get a phone call from Janice, his late wife, about like 3 or 4 in the morning. Your dad never came home yesterday. Okay. What are we doing? And so her and Denali Don, which if you've ever heard anything with my dad, Don is the guy that on Denali that essentially clashed with pulmonary edema. And my dad had to run up Windy Corner and get some help, blah, blah, blah. That's where his name, Denali Don, came from. Anyways, my dad goes up and he was going through this phase of just hiking off trail and just exploring like some Indian places here in the gorge or whatnot. Went up to this one place. Took him a little bit longer. There was some snow involved or whatnot. And basically at night, he decided, well, it's probably getting a little too late. and I don't want to go down this thing I had to climb up. A little snow, I think, that was there. So he was like, "Well, I'll just camp out over here." He was prepared, right? Just like you were saying in the Jeep, you're all prepared. So he was prepared, had a great night's sleep over there, or whatever. But the problem is, in the morning, helicopter, search and rescue, the news, and everything was around there, and they go up, and he finally gets into cell service, calls Janice. Janice is like, "Oh, Ron's here, whatever. We're good." And the news is like, "Okay, well, we got a lot of people here." And I think, if I remember correctly, so Dad, tell me if I'm wrong or right. I think you asked, "Are those helicopters for me?" Yep. So, yes, you're pointing here. So he basically was told to meet search and rescue at one place, and then when he got up there, I'll never forget the look on his face. Like, he was never lost, he was never hurt, he was never in distress, he was never anything. This dude grew up in the mountains, and I've been on the mountains. I swear to God, he picks up a pebble in a complete whiteout on Mount Hood, pick up a random pebble anywhere and be like, "This pebble means we are 437 feet north by northwest of the White Canyon River, and we have to walk approximately 18 steps to be exactly where we need to be." Right. So that's my dad.
That's why you bring him along, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're the opposite.
Yeah. So he goes up, and this lady in the news sticks a camera in his face. "Ron, Ron, Ron, how does it feel to be found?" He was like, "I was never lost." And the look on his face was like this complete, like, my dad does not swear very much, but I think at that moment in time, he was like, "Lady F you. Do you know anything?" Right? I mean, "How does it feel to be found?" He's like, "I was never lost." So anyways, there's that story. So that's, being prepared, and I just think it's great, So him being prepared, I think I go out a little prepared too. You, Sean, occasionally, it depends on how much coffee he can bring to know how well he'll function the next day in emergency situation. Actually,
I need to be able to sleep in too.
yeah, until the crack of noon. I want to give you crap about it, but okay, my dad's leaving. Okay, time to get back to motorcycles. Well, that's what we're doing here, right, Meow?
No, you're missing he's wanting you to get off the topic of your dad
Oh,
and back to motorcycles.
man,
He's here for the rest of the show.
okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I was going somewhere before. I want to give you shit about not being like this prepared guy in emergency situations, but I got to tell you what, this guy in an emergency situation takes very good care of people, and that's the guy I actually want with you if it hits the fan, because he was there when I had my little deal with my pops and Critter and everything, and yeah, dude, they're Gucci.
Yeah. I watched that video full length the other day, and what are the odds of the caliper disc going, "Nah, I'm going to throw you off your bike now"?
I think in that situation, pretty damn good.
What?
Yeah, I know. In all, in the scheme of things, yeah, I think pretty crazy, especially exactly when it happened. I think, I don't know if I have pictures on this computer of that. I'm going to talk and look over here while I'm doing it, but
I gave you one really good close up of the front cal of the disc.
Yeah, I was looking at, like, it's all bent and warped where it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I was like, eesh.
yeah, those pictures are all they're online, or they're on that episode. They're on the epi.
When I called you the other day,
yeah,
I had no idea how bad your bike was. Like, I knew it was bad. I didn't realize it was like, yeah, no, it's like it's a parts donor for something.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's exactly what it is too. Let's see. I have a folder in here.
Well, and while he's doing that, Chris, I'm curious, because you weren't there at the event at all. Kind of, what was your take on the debrief video?
It was really good.
Of it.
What it did is it really painted a comprehensive picture, and you guys were good about keeping it, like, sort of chaptered. Like, okay, chapter 1, this is the accident, and then breaking it down into step by step, and Chris having his part. And I can totally relate with Chris with his recurring vision. I haven't had a motorcycle accident, but I've seen accidents where they roll over in your head and they keep you up at night. So But that the way you packaged it up and explained it and it was really good. And I think it was like, from my perspective, again, only knowing, okay, something happened. What happened? Ian's bike is buggered, but what does that mean exactly? You told a really clean, and Ian was like, when you guys started this, like the podcast here. Yeah, there it is. Like, good grief. It was 2 hours plus of, if you're interested in the human condition of a potentially, well, it was a life altering event, but one that could have been like really life altering event. It's a fascinating story, and it is absolutely incredible that you guys walked out of, like, you walked away from it and walked out of ER, went to a wedding the next day, because like you look at the statistics of everything that happens and you're like, yeah, none of that should have been happening. Like,
Yeah.
so
And so if you don't know, you can see the caliper. Well, not the caliper. You can see
the
the
rotor,
actual
yeah.
brake rotor right there.
Zoom in on that rotor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's not stock.
When I yeah, that's not
Yeah, I mean, you could see this stuff right here is, I mean, it's broken, and that's where it would all mount to, like where this would mount and this would mount. I mean, it just pulled right off. And so, I was off the road and I was looking up and I thought I was going to be able to ride back up on the road because I didn't even notice what happened, and then right when I gave it some throttle, at least when I think I gave it some throttle, this whole entire disc got tied up back here in the caliper and it just completely locked the wheel. And again, I thought I had a little tip over, but I think it was a little bit more severe than what I
Yeah,
thought.
your bike turned into a trebuchet for a pancake, like pancake flip. Whoosh!
Oh yeah, it totally did the old pancake flip. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Trying to check this stuff out a little bit and didn't realize I can zoom in like this. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, they just sheared all this stuff off.
I mean, that was the story. That was one of the first things I saw, because I walked up to Ian first and I kind of glanced over just at his bike because it wasn't far, maybe 10, 15 feet away. And I remember seeing that, just that to me told me kind of the seriousness of it, because it was all spread over, 200-300 feet. But that was the part that kind of caught me right away, that, oh shit, this isn't just oh, let's put it back on the road and call it a day.
And
No,
and
not at all.
and you guys were leaving, right? So it's like it would have garage saled your stuff all over the highway.
Yeah, if it was,
Well, no, the bikes were empty. They were just starting on so they were going to do a morning ride
Oh,
around the
okay.
area and then ride home. So the bikes were just ready for a day ride.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I don't know if like we said in the podcast, the only funny thing about this whole situation is that right there.
No kidding.
That's how my dad's bike ended up.
Actually,
Just like that.
the best part of that story was that guy that just came up and was like, "Yeah, okay, just clip the wires, wheel the bike off, stitch it back up like nothing happened." Like, yeah, it happens.
I mean, he was there just a few minutes, I guess. That would have been great to be like actually coherent enough to remember that, or maybe record or something.
Well, and he never even came anywhere near us. That was just kind of happening off in the distance, off to the side.
Yeah.
And I was watching it out of the corner of my eye, like, whoa, what? Really? That's always done? I mean, I just remember those things going through my head as we were dealing with other things, 200 feet away. But he talked to the police, obviously, because they helped him roll it off the fence. But he never came around any of us.
Well,
Just in and gone in a matter of probably 10 minutes.
Yeah. I don't think he really needed to come over and talk to us. Hey, y'all, you okay there, City Slicker?
You're right. You screwed my fence up.
That's a fun way to park, son.
You're right.
Yeah, I know. It was just insane because when you know what that bike went through to get to that position, I mean, okay, I'm gonna bring this thing back up again, right?
Like I say, I gave you a photo with the divots.
Yeah, you did.
One of my photos has divots.
Yeah,
I specifically took that.
I mean, really, this thing right here, I'll try to find that. But so off the road, bam, huge river where the bike just impacted. Flips through the air 15, 20 feet more, bam. Another like big area of just where the bike just hit, just big divot, displaces all the sagebrush, all the dirt and everything. There's a hole. Flips up through the air again and lands like this. Like you can just hop on and be like, okay, bye. And just start riding off. I mean, wild. You know what I mean? Just crazy stuff. If I was a bet man, that would not be my bet where the bike would end up.
No.
No. All right. So, anyways, we got to get back to some more pictures too, because we got a lot of those. Faux show.
Oh, did you ever actually answer who that last lady was? The lady before Tracy? I was gonna say I don't think so.
No, we're
Nobody guessed it.
We're gonna bring it back up here again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but real quick,
we can give a hint. Like
no.
Okay.
When you,
She rides motorcycles.
Well, that's true. She rides her own motorcycle.
She does.
Yep.
She does. But
yeah, see, Chris is asking too.
okay, well, we'll bring it back up.
Chris knows her.
We'll bring her back up. What about?
Oh,
so look,
we're gonna talk to this first. Wow.
Yeah, look at that. You know, I think sometimes you think about like things happen for a reason, right? So a lot of this stuff happens for a reason. Pancakes, he really kind of had to unfortunately go through this, but I think the stuff on his head like this and in the back of his helmet is just preparing him for the next 20, 30 years of dealing with me.
Oh,
I think
he wasn't prepared by now.
Yeah, I think we should knock a little bit more sense into him.
because that had marks down on the chin guard, right?
Yeah.
So and there's like, that's just full argument for me for a full face helmet.
Gosh, yeah.
Oh yeah, if you don't wear a full face helmet, you're just asking for crazy stuff to happen. I lost my folder.
Nobody ever really wants to talk about accidents. Some people thinks it jinx you and things like that. And I remember when I took the safety course many years ago, I was always very stuck on the statistics side of it. What is it? I'm just spitballing here, but there were things like 30 or 40% of motorcycle accidents are people in the first 6 months of their license. Okay, check. I'm out of that. Next 30 or 40% have alcohol or drugs in their system. Okay, well, I don't do that. I usually don't even have one beer at lunch on a motorcycle ride, just because I don't want to jinx myself on that. But that's how I've always ridden, is to try to avoid some of those statistics.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you on that one.
And that's a good thing about the ADV community in general. I think if you look at a per capita or percentage of riders in the ADV community compared to many of the others, their gear is legit. There's not too many ADV guys wearing a little skull cap and shorts,
No.
like we see around here on sport bikes. The majority of us are well protected and believe in our crash protection.
Oh yeah, it's I remember when I did my riding school, they wouldn't even let me wear some of my own gear because it didn't meet their standards.
Wow.
They were like, yeah, no, because I had a jacket, helmet, gloves. I didn't have knee pads, and I didn't have pants yet. And they wouldn't I have an Alpine Stars jacket, but they said nope, it doesn't have the spine guard, so you have to wear one of ours. Now, fortunately, the school I went to was one of the best ones, and actually, full bias, it's the best one in BC. Oh, I think Western Canada and maybe Pacific Northwest. That's a pretty bold statement, but it's a really good school. And and like I said hiking boots, they were like, nope. It has to have ankles, has to have crush protection. Because we're going to be in the parking lot, you're going to drop the bike. You're going to drop the bike. And I was like, what if I don't? They're like, we assume you're going to drop the bikes, and we don't want you to drop it on your ankle and break your ankle while you're still in school. So the school I went to is the all gear all the time sort of model, and that's where it's hot.
That goes right to Brittany's right there. I was apparently over geared for my endorsement class for the first day. Is there such a thing though? I think you probably did it just fine.
I'd rather be over prepared than under.
Oh,
Exactly.
100%. Okay, so
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a statistic, but why be an unnecessary one, right?
right.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
Who-
that hair. Come on now. You guys got to know who this is. Come on now. There's another picture of her as well. Right here. Kaboom. Well, okay.
Or not?
It's only sharing that one picture. I thought it would share the whole thing. So we'll go there. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do that. And then go here. And then right there. Okay, come on. Who this? Who is that? It's the same person. I like that this one.
Oh wow, that's a different view.
Right?
I'm not sure I see that.
It's the exact.
I mean, and I know who this
Nope.
is.
Critter. Nope. Nope. You're wrong.
I got no idea who that is.
No. That actually probably is throwing people because I know the answer and that would throw me.
Yep. Right. Right. Nope. It's not Grace.
Probably the most I'm going to give a hint. Probably the most influential female that any of us know currently in the ADV community.
Why don't you just go give it away, kid? Nope. Nope. He's on here. He could have just said his answer, Misty. But no, he types it.
You're right.
Well, everybody.
You're participating.
If you see me looking down, I'm tapping on my phone with one finger.
Right? That is hilarious. Oh, Critter got it.
Yeah.
That is the world-renowned Chris Fant, folks.
No kidding.
Yeah, so go back to the other picture. Let's now
Okay,
because I still don't see it in this one.
right. Hold
Maybe
on.
the other one. The other one I think I did.
Hold, please. Oh, I got to bring it up again. All right. It's a whole process, kids. I probably could learn this a little bit better.
You got this. What? Look at you. All these people are here watching you on a Friday night. They literally have nothing else to do.
I know. So this absolutely
I totally
looks like
see
her.
it. Yeah,
Like this picture, you can totally tell that's Chris.
yeah. The Aquanet hair, absolutely believable.
Now,
Net hair.
now that I know who it is, I can make the connection. But before I couldn't.
Absolutely.
Hindsight, the beauty of hindsight.
I should have brought up, her Instagram too. I probably could have done that. Yeah, it's all good. Yes, sir.
So, Chris, since you've been riding 3+ years, so you just took the safety course 2-3 years ago?
3 years ago. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
Is it required there like it is here?
The way it works in the province of British Columbia, because I found out Alberta, if you want to get a motorcycle license, Alberta is generous in their application of rigor. In that it almost doesn't exist. Like, yeah, get a bike, go for a drive, car will follow you. Okay, here's your bike license, off you go. In BC, there's this. That's my grade 12 year. We got in BC, you even if you have like a class 5, a regular car driver's license, you get a learner's for a motorcycle. You don't have to take a school, but you have to do a skills test, because when you first get your learners, it has 4 restrictions on it. You're not allowed to drive over 60 kilometers an hour. You're not allowed to drive at night. You're not allowed to drive without another motorcyclist around you, like a qualified, fully licensed motorcyclist around you. You're not allowed to double. Those are the 4. So pretty much you're stuck driving in around town with another bike, nothing fast. And when you do the skills test, it's about a 15-20 minute, and it's all slow speed. It's you have to go into a 10-foot box and be able to do a U-turn without putting a foot down at slow speed. And you have to do the slaloms and stops and all the funny stuff. And if you pass that, then that removes 2 of the restrictions. So that removes the speed restriction and that removes the ride alone restriction. So you're now down to, you can't drive at night and you can't drive 2 up. And I rode like that for probably, 4 months. So I started riding around, like Rick was with me for a bit. The second I had my school under my belt, I started riding with Rick, and we'd just go and meet off in the mountains someplace and blah, 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 blah. And then I did my road test. And when I did my road test, it was a clean sheet. Actually, I thought I failed. The instructor said, "I know you know how to drive. We're not testing you on whether you know what a stop sign is or a park zone." He goes, "I just want to make certain that, you can go out and you can get from where you got to go on your bike and not be hurt. So I said, okay. He goes, we're not going to try to trick you up. Here's the radio. If I say return to whatever, follow the directions. And if we get separated, just pull over and stop and we'll catch up to you. I was, all right, cool. And we were out for 20 minutes and he said it would be about a 40-minute test. And we're about 20 minutes in and I realized we were like 2 blocks from where the test station started. And he was turning the guy and I was like, oh crap.
Oh no.
I've failed. I've missed a stop sign. There's been a critical, like we're only halfway through the time and he's already taken me back. And we pull in and he calls on the radio, so yeah, put it in the parking lot. And I pull into my little bike and I put my kickstand down and I'm just like, oh, son of a biscuit. Yeah, and I gotta go book another test. And the guy goes, so that was a good ride. And I was like, it was? He goes, yep. I said, I thought I failed. He goes, why do you think you failed? Because we're back. You said we'd be 40 minutes or so, and it's like been barely 20. He goes, no, it just became apparent that I wasn't going to trip you up or anything, so that you were fine. So he goes, why waste your time? Let's go get you clean sheet, Chris. Let's go get you your license. That was it.
That's a good rider or a good instructor right there. That's pretty good stuff. Yeah,
And
it would.
riding on dirt, learning to ride on dirt with Rick was different.
So several people missed the answer to who that gentleman was, that young man was. And
Oh, yeah. What's that young fine man there, Chris?
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
picture.
Yeah, that I know who that was.
Well, I think people are still guessing like Nathan Fant, which is wow. So this guy right here, I'm sorry I brought that up. That is actually our guest right there. That is, I think he said his grade 12 picture.
Yep, that was a student council rep, and that was the picture they took for that in the annual. Still have the jacket, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's one of those high school jackets. Like it has a school name on the back and logos
like
and stuff
Letterman
like that.
jackets.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Sean, you ever get a Letterman jacket?
I did.
In what?
Track, ski team, and then I even had an academic letter.
Oh boy. Anyways, so bye.
Winner.
Hey, you know what? This will make you feel better, Pancakes. Mine?
Yeah.
Well, at our school, you didn't have to letter in anything. If you had the money, you wanted to buy a school jacket, you get a school jacket. But on mine, because I wasn't an athlete and I wasn't an academic, I was one of the shop kids. It literally said like my name on one side, grad 92 on a sleeve, and then it's automotive.
I think Critter's talking a little crap too, but it's all right. That guy.
Student council. Oh, okay. So, Critter, student council nerd, you'll like this. This is a great story. Grade 12, my friends come up to me and go, hey, Chris. I said, yeah. They said, we did something. I said, what's that? And they said, you'll find out. This is like, like the first or second day of grade 12. And they said, oh, you'll find out soon enough. I was like, oh, grad pranks already? Like, we're barely getting started, guys. The afternoon announcements, like they go through, okay, everybody think, good day, blah, 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 blah. And would Chris Nilsson please come down to the principal's office? And I was like, what did I do now? Like, I'm okay. It's inevitable. I'm going to end up down there anyways at some point this year, but like on day 2. And I wandered in and they said, yeah, Chris, your friends have put your name in for the student council. And I was like, okay. And they said, well, we don't actually usually have a grade 12 rep because there's the president, the vice president. They're usually all from the senior class. And I said, yeah. And they said, but if you're interested, you can have it. It's a win by acclamation. And I was like, what do I got to do? And they said, the odd, help out with the odd event and that. And I said, does it get me into the dances for free? And they said, it does. And I was like, I'm in. That was it.
Hey, we got to be nice. Your little brother. I think that's what you call him, right? Your little brother's here.
His older brother.
He is. When we stand side by side, he's smaller than me, but he's my older brother.
Yes, I got it right.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to shh. So everything you said about him before here, we gotta take back.
No.
Infamous Rick, shoestring ADV in the house.
He is.
Dude, we had your picture up and everything earlier.
Yeah, we did.
Holy moly. Yeah, we sure done, dude. I'm going to bring it back up again right now. I'll tell you what.
So I had sent you a quick video clip of my first ever motorcycle. And my first bike was not an adventure bike. The bike, you know, everybody buys a POS bike that they can drop on. Look at that hair.
No,
I remember when it left.
just look at that. What's up, ladies?
Oh,
you
yeah.
doing? My name's Rick.
Yeah, Whitesnake had nothing on him.
That's right. You want to go round and round?
So that's just so distracting.
Same.
I know. Here's what's getting all the ladies right there. Look at the look. He's like, he sees her in the background.
Rick's like, why did I even get on here tonight?
Well, no, you know what? He had to expect that because he had to send the picture, and I don't have that one.
Oh,
So
I think it's awesome.
classic.
it is.
It is.
And actually, hold on. Oh, that's the automotive shop.
The V8 Vega days.
Oh yeah. Oh, he had. My brother had this. Oh, I was gonna say an adult word. He had this poop brindle brown car. It was built on a bet. Like some other guys built it. It was like, yeah, we can build a quarter-mile car. I think it could do like, it was supposed to do like 12 or 13 in the quarter for less than $1,000. And so these guys bought this tiny, like they got this little crappy brown Vega, and they shoehorned a police interceptor 350 and turbo 300 into it, and had like welded into the frame and a different manifolds and electric fan on the front, and it had to have a hood scoop, not because it actually had a hood scoop, but just to be able to fit the engine under the hood. And he blew the rear end out of it going across an intersection. Surprise, surprise. And then they put a narrowed Ford 9-inch into it. And this thing, this horrible death trap of a car. This is because the 5-liter Mustang was like the belly button race car of the time in the early 90s. Any Mustang that was stock, it would just dust them off the line. I remember my brother picked me up from the ferry once. I was coming back from Sea Cadets, and he picked me up at the Esquimalt, not the Esquimalt ferry, at the Tuason ferry terminal, and there was a radar trap gunning people coming into the terminal. And if you've ever been to the Tuason terminal, it's on a long, couple kilometer long, straight long causeway out into the water. But if the cops are on one side, they're not on the other. Like they can't get you. And hey, there he is. There's the size difference between my older brother and me.
Oh, I remember him. Sorry, I didn't tie the face to the name until just now.
Well, anybody that was a get lost,
Yeah,
we can all know with my pink toque. So you were saying?
Yeah, I remember Rick knew that there was radar or something, or the cops were doing a radar gun, and we went back past that radar trap, and he actually bent the speedometer, like the needle. I'm trying to get in the camera. The needle went over, and then it hit its stopper, and bent.
Oh man!
As we were past the police cars, and I was like, "Dude," he was like, "Ah." And he street raced that car for a couple of seasons. Twisted it. I think it leaked like a sieve, because it wasn't frame connected or anything. And then I think he sold it for as much as he paid for it after racing the crap off of it for a couple of years.
Crazy. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah,
that is kind of cool.
If I got anything wrong in that story, Rick, or feel free to correct me. But that's my recollection of the death trap.
The death trap. Well, Critter's been talking some shade a little bit, which is all fun and games, right? But let's not forget, this is Critter too. Hey.
Wow, what the fuck?
My dog doesn't even like it.
Football player, or was he a football player?
He was not a football player, because you could tell, because if he was getting ready to throw it, his arm that is out with the watch on needs to be bent back more, because he's had to follow through with this throw, and that ball has to be more on his ear to get a good throw in. But it's A for effort,
Well, that explains why that photo that you showed me earlier today, why he was so jacked.
We're coming. It's next.
I was a wide receiver,
bro. You were a wide receiver?
Oh, Chris is saying,
Pretty
I was a wide receiver. I'm thinking to myself, in this day and age, man, that could have so many interpretations.
I was gonna say on what corner. Here we go. Yeah.
There it is.
Yar, there we go. Look at that, Chris.
He's all muscle there, though.
He is. That's why I was like, look at that guy. He's like, look, he's ripped.
Okay. Yeah, he is. He has pretty good definition. He was probably doing some work at the point, being a wide receiver.
I can say, is that a theater pick?
Not in his kitchen, it's not.
Pick. That's what it looks like to me.
Great big old.
This right is at a pretty particularly interesting angle.
You've analyzed these, haven't you?
Well, he is the little spin. Yeah.
Well, you can. I'm gonna come to his help a little bit. You can see the palm of the sword, where his hand should be.
Yeah.
And that's a brain tumor microwave behind him. The one that you could actually put a turkey in. So,
is that really 86? That's incredible. I forgot that he was a few more years older than I am.
Yeah, same.
Not an old joke, Critter. No, just a realization. That's all. He said he was 17 right there. Really?
He was 6'2" in 7th grade. I'm 6'2", and I think I got there in 7th or 8th also.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Justice, my oldest, he's 6'7" right now. He's actually over 6'7", but he I remember, I think he was in the 5th grade. I walked into the kitchen and he was taller than me. It's like, what is going on here, kids? Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mike.
What's Mike saying? Tight end, maybe. Yeah. This is a kids-friendly show, so I'm going to leave those comments out.
So I have a question for you, Chris. When you look forward to the future and riding with your brother, what's a bucket list ride that is kind of already percolating in your head?
Oh, I got one. I almost want to tell you offline though. And no, it's not a bad thing. It's just that, screw it. Maybe I can percolate some interest. It's not a ride that has a lot of riding to get to, but it's got logistics to get to. So like half an hour from here, there's the base of a lake. It's called Pit Lake. And so the city comes pretty close to it. Like you can get there with 10, 15 minutes of country roads. You're there once you're out of the city. At the head of the lake, there's a canyon there's a valley that runs up, I don't know, 80 kilometers until it butts into the back of basically sort of like Whistler is like way up because all the mountains, they all sort of line up in ridge lines here. So to get to where you can ride in the upper pit, you have to load your bike onto a boat, ferry it up 10 miles of river, and then up a 20-mile lake and unload it and get onto the FSRs for the logging that used to be done at the head of the lake. And Rick and I looked at doing that one a couple of years ago. The problem is that it was like, because of the topography, if it's raining here, it's like it's really raining there. We were like, I don't want to go ride another ride, because it's like, it's 2 hours on the boat in the open rain with your bike before you can even get on the bike and ride. So that's a bucket list thing. We still want to do the pit. Once there, it'd be like a couple of days of like, it's moto camping, but it's super remote, because if things go wrong, it's airlift, like you're getting a helicopter. Wow. And I was thinking of inviting a handful of people. So if that's something that, there's now to get, if you were to go back, I think it's in Rick's Instas. If you roll back, there will be a picture of his bike hanging on a crane from about 2 years ago. And it was us field testing, like, okay, because we were like, to get the bikes onto the boat, we'd have to crane it on. And I have friends that own a tugboat company, and it's skiffs and that. So getting the boat was like, they'll just give it to me and say, here's the boats or boats to run them up. That's not a problem. But
That's crazy.
rolling them down the gangway was just like that's how you float test your bike, and we all know that bikes don't pass float tests. So it was like, okay, we're talking about like, okay, how do we sling our bikes? Like, just like how many people actually have to lift their bike up with a crane and lower it onto a boat? So we're like, how do we do that? So we did a test photo, and that was sort of a grooming, like, test in the water. Like, okay, we did this, and Rick put it up, and then, like I said, the trip never happened because the weather went sour. But that's a bucket list ride. I still want to do it. It'd be 2 or 3 days of way off grid. There it is. So there we are. There's the test sling of us getting ready to see if we could actually, like, how do we pick the bikes up and put them down on a boat and then spend 2 hours ferrying them up to the head of a lake that is like super remote. Like basically the terrain that you would have seen in that my Jeep video in that. Think of that, but like off grid, like way off grid.
Cool. Now,
There are no roads that go there at all. It's float plane, helicopter, or boat access only.
Now, are the Forest Service roads that you would be riding on once you got there? Are they?
Are they maintained and rideable?
Are they road?
They are, because there are a couple of lodges that operate up there,
Okay.
and there are still active logging companies running up there. And one of the cool things, if you Google it, the Pit River, the upper pit, there's a hot spring. So think of like a gorge. Down camera. Think of a gorge with a river running through it and a hot spring that comes out of the rocks, and they've actually built a pond. So you're sitting, like, you actually have to like sort of rappel or climb a rope down this 20-foot cliff to get into the hot tub. But then the Whitewater River is like, you lean back and you can stick your hand in it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that sounds like right up my wheelhouse. I really am interested in all that stuff. Critter and I, Critter, am I supposed to talk about our potential 26 adventure that you and I have been talking about? I don't know. I'll wait for him to say we Canadians do it right, but we'll see what he has to say, and maybe I'll bring it up and maybe I won't. But
I can back up one more too.
yeah.
Going back to the Iron Butt part of the conversation.
Oh, way back. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to bring it up at Get Lost. I probably will. But at the end of my video, I referenced, I think there is a Van Isle 1600. And there is. Like, I didn't say that because I think I've researched it. The Iron Butt Association has a 1600.
It's actually a Van Isle it's a Van Isle 1000K, because I've done a lot of research on it.
Oh, okay.
The Van Isle 1000, yeah, and it looks phenomenal.
So
I bet it looks rad.
I'm leaning towards that as a next June ride over on the island. So that will be a retooth the KLR and put some decent road tires on it so I don't buzz myself to death. Unless there's somebody with a small red bike, hint, 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 that wants to do it, in which case I'd bring my CRF and ride in company with smaller displacement bikes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think I would do stuff like that for sure. In fact, Get Lost last year, Critter and I and my dad, I think we were on our way to Houston Caves, I believe. And we were making this right-hand turn, and there was a guy on a motorcycle. He was all totally done up, obviously on a trip. I stopped to make sure he was okay, but that's what he was doing. He was on the 1000 right there.
Oh, actually, wait a minute. The Van Isle 1000, that's the Forest Service road run, right? Sean?
That's my understanding that's where most of it goes. Yeah, I just put the link up.
Yeah, okay, that's not the ride I'm talking about. That's not an Iron Butt ride. The Van Isle 1000 is mostly FSRs. The Iron Butt is mostly all highway, and I think it's 1,600 kilometers.
I'm looking it up now. That sounds. Oh, I see it's called the Vancouver 1600. Is that right? Yeah, Vancouver Island 1600. Gosh, wow. Oh, and it is all pavement. Geez, we've ridden half of that.
Yeah, but have you done it all in one sitting?
No. Sitting literally.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds pretty rad, though.
I'll post that one up too.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That
I did not know. I mean, I think if I have not done an iron butt, but if I was to do one, I'd probably get on Interstate 84 and head to Idaho and back
Yeah, why not?
as
Okay.
fast as I could.
Well, you have to hit the little tail of the dragon a little bit, right?
It's the route that I had laid out. I wanted to like it had like I'd laid out a different route. It had a lot of like more scenic, twisty turnies, like something that's more like fun ride. And then when I was riding, and actually when I was riding in Alberta, and I had that 480-kilometer day, I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. I'm going to spend too much time screwing around in the corners, and not when you want to make miles. So,
Yeah.
especially when you have
So
a,
you looped it, right?
I did well, mostly a loop. There's about 300 clicks. Well, again, it'll be what two, maybe not 300. From here out to Hope is the same highway there and back. And then
Yeah, but what I mean is you didn't ride like for me. I had thought, okay, maybe I would just ride straight from here to Wyoming, and then okay, meander my way back home, But you looped, you started and ended roughly in the same place.
I ended at the exact same gas station that I started. Yeah, in that and a lot of people they do it one to a spot, because the next one there's if you go to the Iron Butt Association, as you'll see, they'll have the next one up is, I think it's 1,500 miles in 36 hours. And then there's like sort of like the gold ring is, I think it's something like across the country without stopping, like stop for sleep, but it's like, it's really, I'm trying to think now.
Man.
I would need a lot of Starbucks.
You would have to have it on tap via IV.
Yeah.
Just a slow drip into the vein, right?
I mean, I commend you for doing the standard iron butt. There's no way I'm doing anything more than an iron butt.
No kidding. Sean wants the IV, but he would do it as a suppository.
Yeah.
I meant to ask that. So when you were at Get Lost, Sean, or when you're out in the rhubarb,
I'm scared of this segue already.
How does that work? Well, like, do you have like a Starbucks bag IV'd someplace so like you can function, or because you're at a Beamer, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I carry it with me,
Okay.
Right. Yeah, dude. That's pretty rad. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the two bikes I ride, the rider runs on just about anything. If it looks coffee-esque, that'll fuel the rider. Off we go.
Well, that's definitely the KLR, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty rad. Oh boy. Okay. We'll just get rid of that. Trying to do too many things at one time. Okay, so let's do a quick not a tangent or anything, but let's go off here for half a second. So I brought up something about Critter Night 2026. So Critter and I have been talking a lot about stuff, right?
You need to grease your joints.
I guess I do, man. It's interesting. I don't think it was doing that early.
Here.
So, if some of you guys watched a live I did, I don't remember when, like maybe last August, maybe somewhere in there, October. Shit, I don't know what it was. Anyways, we were talking about doing this thing called The Journey, a documentary, and essentially what this documentary is Critter and I are going to ride from the Mexico border, and we're going to go BDRs all the way up to Canada. And what we're going to do is Critter and I are going to talk about our stories, but we're also going to bring other people on to ride with us for a few days. So somebody will come on for 2 or 3 days, and somebody else will follow that for a few more days, and so on and so on and so on. And we're going to ride the BDRs all the way up. And we're essentially going to have other people who have had struggles with suicide, attempted suicide, depression, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to tell their story as we go across. So at the end of this documentary, when we get it up to Canada and it's all done, you're going to have the excitement of the story starting, and then you're going to have the drama. I actually know somebody who actually found their dad hanging from a rafter in their garage, and they're going to be a part of this. And they're going to talk about that, but it's like all the struggles, the darkness, and then we wanted to inspire and have people. I'm just giving you a very loose Cliff Note version, just inspiration and hope. that you don't have to go through that stuff, right? So that's going to be our project next year. It's called The Journey. We were supposed to do it this year after Giant Loop. However, we had somebody else involved that was going to help us out on the backside and with like maybe some production and just some guidance and some other things, but just kind of dropped out without a word. And, it is what it is. So Critter and I kind of were like, well, now what? What are we going to do? So we decided we're going to tackle this on our own. You're going to start seeing a lot more about this project and later this year, probably pretty hard. Critter, I would say somewhere around November, which is Men's Mental Health Month, and then trying to get the sponsorships and fundings raised and all that jazz. Okay, so that's 2025. 2026, we're already looking at part 2. So the part 1 will be the journey in the United States, and then part 2 will be the journey. It'll be the journey on the TAT or the TCAT. Excuse me. So we're looking at tackling and starting to do a little bit of more recon and stuff, but it's already looking like we're going to do the Trans-Canadian Adventure Trail. We've been having some loose conversations about that. We got to button down the journey first, but we are already looking at doing the Canadian version. And so we're just trying to get some interest about it. There's probably going to be maybe like some sort of a fundraising campaign going on. There'll be, Sean, can I say the VB40? I know that JJ's all in.
There's been discussions about it. I mean, so it's easy to talk about it from the discussion standpoint because I think
Right.
all of this is in the fact finding portion of it.
Right. So loosely right now, I guess I'll use the word loosely. We've been in contact with VB40 about they'll be the sponsorship and they'll be the ones that kind of have the nonprofit status. So you have a tax deductible here in the States, and then Chris has Get Lost Find Yourself. Is it an org in Canada? I forget. Foundation. So anyways, there's a lot of good things coming up, a lot of positive things coming up. And if remember earlier this year, I was coming out with This Is My Oregon. And that's my practice for documentary shooting. And with the accident, that actually put that on a little bit of not a back burner, but I think it's going to be, I need to figure it out, but I think instead of a 3-part series, I think I'm just going to go film it all and then just do one long video. Get Lost Find Yourself Foundation. Thanks, Critter. But anyways, I have to kind of redo because Critter and I were supposed to take this trip after the accident, after the wedding, and after Giant Loop and all this, and we were supposed to do a crap ton of filming for this. I mean, shot boards, scenes, everything. I had the music down to down to 2 or 3 little songs that maybe I can use in this part or that part or whatever per scene. And we just got to get back out and do it. So I don't know if that's going to be on a motorcycle or if I'm going to have to take my pickup. Bike shopping is happening. So we'll get it all figured out. But Critter, you said a crap ton of planning and a crap ton of work. We appreciate everyone's support. To the moon and back, and I couldn't agree with that more. It's going to be a thing. So
when are you doing that ride in?
So tentatively, the journey will be starting after Giant Loop next year. So
okay.
I believe we'll go to Giant Loop and just kind of hang out a little bit, and then I always give people crap. Trailer your bikes. What are you trailing your bike? You ride your bikes, but we're going to trailer the bikes down south, just to be ready to go. And then we're going to bounce north and we're going to do the BDR. So yep, there it is. The journey is in 2025. That is our next year big shoot. So you should be able to, see the final production probably second quarter of 26. And then about the time that's probably coming out, Critter and I are probably going to take off on the TCAT. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Kurt is in the house. What's up, brother? Captain K. So, anyways, that was that. So let's get back to our guest. That came up, and I was just like, I thought you were going to go talk about the TCAT, and I was just like, oh, we should say something to that, right, meow. So that's just kind of what we did. Yeah, buddy. So, anyways, we have been at this thing for 2 hours already.
Wow.
Pretty good. And your microphone's holding up. One of the things that you were saying, I have like an hour battery on this thing.
Yeah, no, well, it's my iPad. I've been watching it, and it's holding on there. I'm good for a while yet. So.
Oh, nice. Hey, who was longest? I think Critters Live was over 4 hours. So
Yeah, I don't know. I've already established that I can sit in one spot for a long time.
you really have. You really have.
It probably would come as no surprise to my brother. I remember when he started hunting, because the type of hunting I do is called ambush hunting. So I'll go and read the lay of the land, and I'll sit down on a stump, and then I won't move for 4 hours. He can't do that. He goes, I have no idea how you do that. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm successful. He goes, I have no idea how you can sit there and just not move for 4 hours. Like, it works.
Yeah. Well, you always hear about those sniper guys sitting there and rattlesnakes go over them.
Yeah.
Hear those stories, where they're just not moving. Takes a different person. Hi, Sean.
Hi. Yeah, that's not me.
No.
Rick, he bumbles around. The first animal he shot way up on the side of a hill. I told him, I said, we got it into the sled to drag it down the hill. And I said, if we kill ourselves getting this thing down the hill, we're not getting into heaven. You show up and stand in front of St. Peter and say, me and a dead deer in a sled crashed down a hill and killed ourselves. And it killed me. He goes, yeah, you're stupid. You go to hell. You're not getting in for that.
Okay. like that's totally tubular, dude. One thing, we haven't got a lot of comments. I've gotten a lot of these pictures, and we haven't got a lot of just like favorite stories coming up from the 80s, Oh, what's Critters saying? Yeah, let's find out a little about this. Tell us a little bit about any wild stories from your harbor patrol.
You see,
And
that is such a it's a super common question. We do a number
don't tell. Oh,
what's that, Sean?
I was gonna say, don't ask, don't tell.
No. The people will ask, what's the craziest thing you've seen? And I actually have to ask a qualifying question. It's like, okay, what's your barometer for crazy? Because what I've been doing it now, I'm coming up on my 25th year, 25 years doing, for lack of a better word, I'm not a police officer, but I'm like a bylaw officer, but I'm out on the water all the time doing regulatory enforcement for Transport Canada for the Port Authority. So 25 years of public service doing regulatory enforcement. I've seen a lot of really weird things, and you have to put that barometer on, like, define weird. Like, what's your benchmark for weird? Because I've seen, like, a normal day for me is get up, go to work, inspect some ships. When things get busy with recreational traffic, go and stop people from becoming statistics, and then have the privilege of being told that I'm an asshole for stopping them from getting themselves killed. So that's sort of like a normal day. And then the weird things. Here's one. This is a fun story. So I'm escorting a tanker out. So Vancouver Harbor has 2 choke points in it, the first and second narrows. In first narrows, every ship that has to that's coming in to handle cargo in Vancouver Harbor has to go under the Lions Gate Bridge at First Narrows. And certain ships get what's called a clear narrows. So oversized cruise ships, deep draft bulkers, all tankers. There's a whole class, like there's bunches of ships that when they go through, we'll run ahead of them, like doing traffic control, sort of like when the president's moving, we'll just chase everybody out of the way. It's like, get out of the way, ship's coming, you can't be here. It's clear narrows. And on this particular one, I had a 180,000 ton loaded bulker coming out under the bridge. And when they come out the bridge, they don't just come out, they have to come out, and while they're actually under it, they're executing a bit of a turn to the left, or a turn to the port. And as I'm leading along, I see a kayaker, or what I think is a kayaker, from a distance. And in First Narrows or traffic control zone 1, there's no sailing, there's no PWCs, there's no paddle sports, there's no swimming, there's no fishing, there's no basically nothing fun. It's your power-driven vessel you're driving through or go away. So I roll over, and it's this guy that has this homemade hybrid raft is the best I can describe it as. He's taken four sheets of that high density insulation foam panel, and he's cut it into like 2 foot wide by 4 foot long panels, and he's made like a tricycle sort of thing. And it's all held together with duct tape, and he has an electric motor on it in a cooler that sits in front of him. And he was paddling at the time because it's a hybrid, you know, it's got solar power for the electric and I can paddle it. And he's decided that he wants to roll in front of this 180,000 ton ship that's coming out through First Narrows. So I go racing up to him like, dude, you got to get out of here. And he's like, I don't have to do anything. I'm like, no, we're not having a discussion about this. I'm talking, you're listening, you got to go. And basically I had to use the patrol boat to sort of crowd him out of the way. It actually made YouTube. He fired up a YouTube channel that showed him making his hybrid raft, launching it, and he didn't record our interaction, but then he did this really mean port guy came up and scared me with the boat and told me I had to leave and blah, 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 blah. And the link got sent around to law enforcement, and then everybody just said, don't pass it out to the public because we don't want this guy getting any traction. And but he was really put off. So like, you know, there's you see stuff like that. A couple of years ago we had Paddlegate, and Paddlegate that's my PTSD at work. That's the day where I came home and I was like, I can't believe nobody got killed. 3 years ago, Labor Day long weekend. It's the Monday, so everybody's coming home. I have a loaded tanker coming out through First Narrows, same spot, and I have about 50 recreational boats, varying size from like 25 footers to 80 foot yachts, all sort of coming in haphazardly. And a tugboat that was just outside traffic control zone 1 waiting to hook up to a ship that was coming in called and said, there's some paddle boards over here. I was like, oh, okay. So I called the tanker I was escorting and said, hey, I'm going to go check on those paddle boards, shoo them out of the way so it's clear when we get there. He goes, yeah, you go do your thing. So I raced up ahead, and 2 turned into 4, turned into 6, turned into 12, turned into 26 paddle boards. And what it was a church group that was paddling across English Bay, and they didn't account for the flood tide. And they got sucked all the way across to the length of the bay and then into the tide currents flowing into through First Narrows, which runs at about 5 knots on peak tide. So they get yarded in. Oh, no, not 5 knots, 5 kilometers an hour, but 2.5 knots. Anyways, they get yarded in, and they're going through all this traffic. And I'm like on the PA, I'm literally screaming at them, paddle to the shore, paddle to shore, paddle shore. I actually made a broken arrow call where I basically picked up and went on channel 16. It's like, any official vessels listening, this is VFPA4, that's the name of the boat I was on. I am overwhelmed with recreational traffic and require assistance at First Narrows. And when you hear a call like that, you're like, oh, something's not good. And instantly, because it was a long weekend, police were out, Coast Guard was out, search and rescue was all out. So within minutes, they were all there. We chased them all ashore, and then we did a sea lift, and we carried them all back to where they started. That in itself, like I said, they thought everything was fine. And I was like, it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you were there at the second, it'd be like watching an elementary class try to cross a busy highway.
Jesus.
That's the closest analogy. Is like take a bunch of people in like a kindergarten class and say, all right, kids, run across traffic. That's what it looked like from the water perspective. And I really boiled over on one of them because one of the people, they had a baby seat strapped to their paddleboard with their kid lashed into it. And granted, the kid had a life jacket on, which was like, okay, that's great. But I said, you understand, if that flips over, he's strapped into that. He's just going to be held head down, and you're going to kill your child, right? They're like, oh, I never thought of that. I'm like, oh, God, give me strength.
Boy.
So I remember I came back from that, and I sat down and I looked at the computer at the boathouse for about an hour, and like I couldn't move. I was shell shocked. Like, okay, so that happened. And
children.
And I have more interaction with suicide than probably most average people.
Really? Yeah, I can see that actually.
I've spent a lot of time under a bridge looking up, and I've spent a lot of time looking in the water, and I've recovered a lot of people that managed to complete their task. So
Wow, that's got to be tough.
it
That's
is. It's
gotta be
not fun.
tough.
So
We're going to we got a question here from Throttle Lover says, "Hey Chris." I'm going to read it how I think they're saying it. Like, "Hey Chris, how did you get into Harbor Patrol?"
how did I get into Harbor Patrol? Timing, certificate. So education, certification, good timing. It helps to know people, and I had established myself in the industry. Gave me with the spoon is such an uncle way.
It's just we're putting some funny stuff up.
Okay. Sorry, I was like
Trying to keep us on theme here.
Yeah. So as it happened, that I got hired into a smaller port authority that ended up being swallowed up by the Vancouver Port Authority. So I started out as in the Harbor Patrol, the Fraser River. So Fraser River Harbor Patrol at the time was the deputy harbor master who was the boat captain, and me as the mate. And that was the first 8 years of my career. And a little bit of word of mouth, a little bit of education. I think they had 150 applicants, and I made the short list for interview.
Wow, that's great.
Well, I'm a bit of okay. I'm gonna sound proud for a second. I'm a rare bird in the marine industry, and that I'm what's called dual certified, in that I still have an engineering certificate and I have a deck officer, a bridge certificate. So I'm a licensed master and I'm a licensed engineer, and we're normally it's one or the other. So the upshot to that is if you're having a small boat operation, where the crew is doing the maintenance and caring for the vessel, like because the small boats are not engineer required like the patrol boats we have. We have to have an engineering knowledge certificate, but they don't actually have to have an engineer as such. But the maintenance is like the frontline maintenance is all managed by us. We troubleshoot the stuff initially when the boat goes goofy, and then hand it off to a shore engineer. So if you have somebody that already has that in their toolkit, it'd be like, so you're a commercial truck driver. Imagine if you had a partner driver that was also a licensed journeyman heavy duty mechanic.
Yeah.
So
that'd be right.
He can drive for you, and truck issues are generally, unless it's a part that you just need to get a part, it's so that sort of was like that was a big feather in my cap. I remember when I got the job, they called me up, made for a really long weekend. They called me up on the Friday and said, "Good news, you're first runner up." Thanks, Rick. That's Bob and Doug McKenzie, Don't Be a Hoser, eh?
Oh, hey. Yeah, we know that movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they called and said, "You're first runner up." And I was like, so I didn't get the job. And they said, "No, the guy that got the job he works in the Nanaimo Port Authority, and we've offered it to him, but it means that he's going to have to fold up shop and move over here, and we're not certain whether he's going to do that. So we'll let you know next Tuesday." So I got to spend the whole week wondering if this guy was going to take the job or not. And then they called me Tuesday and said, "Hey, congratulations. If you want it, it's yours." And I was like, "This is a frog's ass water type? Bloody hell, yeah, I want the job." So
yeah, let's go.
And
That's pretty
yeah,
cool, man. That was 25 years ago.
Coming up on 25 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, man, that's pretty rad. MOD. Are we saying mod or like the band MOD?
Spent a lot of
Sean's
time.
feeling over there. He's not going to say anything. Come on, spit it out. I'm not paying attention much to the chatties.
It's scrolling along beside me. I either I'm going to focus on
Sean
that, or I'm going to be a horrible interviewer.
No, Sean has hijacked my chat. This is not me. This is Sean. This is Sean right here. He found a way in the back door to. I need to word that different.
Yeah, slow down there.
Sean has found a way to get into my chats to come up with my logo. So there's been a few of these today, but
I do need a cake pop.
You do need a cake pop, I guess. But yeah, so that is not me. But I appreciate that. Who doesn't need a cake pop, bro?
So I got
a good way to spend a Friday night, though.
So
yeah.
Ian, you started riding dirt bikes as a kid, right?
Yeah.
So So for you, adventure riding was second nature.
Well, I had a long break in between. It's kind of the same thing, kids and stuff growing up. Smart. Yeah, so I think adventure riding, it was a bit back to the roots, but it's also a little bit different too because the bikes are heavier. At least what I ride is a little bit heavier, and try not to crash, which doesn't work out very well because I tend to do that anyways. But yeah, I really enjoy adventure riding and getting into it. It's like I honestly wish I was doing this in my 20s. I don't know what life would be different, but and right now, in this chapter of my life too, a lot of changes, going on, and my wanderlust is almost out of control, to be completely honest with everybody. It's just like I'm having like I saw a critter a while ago say, he got home and he hasn't ridden very much, but I can't ride right now. Well, I had the Super T downstairs, the spare bike, Pop's bike, whatever. God
Offer
damn it,
stands.
Sean.
The offer stands.
I know, and I do need that. But I should have a bike before then.
Yeah.
But
And then Critter's got to come down, and you guys have like a little reuniting weekend.
reunited.
Exactly. I kind of
Yeah.
pictured that music as your intro for
Oh,
your
yeah.
film.
Well, you know what good
Maybe.
bromance doesn't have that, right?
Right.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little sidetracked because Sean's stealing my stuff. But one of the things is I did find an African twin.
He hires me as a moderator. What's he getting?
I
You're getting what you're paying for.
I a beer.
Well, let me ask the same question to Sean. Like, did you ride dirt bikes as a kid, or did you ride street bikes, or then get into the adventure riding, or what was your history with it?
Yeah, I started. I got my first dirt bike when I was 5, and rode all dirt bikes through a teenager. Early 20s was kind of first gen mountain biking because that's all I could afford, and
you're on a boat,
and then moved into street bikes, and then kind of came backwards back into ADV. I went street bikes and motocross bikes kind of simultaneously in 30s and 40s, but around here I was noticing how so many of the areas they were closing off the non-plated bikes, and I didn't like being restricted on specific trails, and so I started kind of investigating the ADV side of things and dual sport side of things, and here we are today.
That's cool. I was just noticing in the stream, my brother has referenced the Lego.
Yeah.
Oh, he
did. Yeah.
So
I heard
there
that
it is.
story. That's awesome.
I got Lego. So I sent Ian a clip of me riding my very first bike, and my very first bike was a mid '80s Honda Shadow VT 500, and I only actually rode it 3 times before I bought the CRF. Then I rolled around on the CRF for 2 or 3 months, and I remember Rick was talking with our buddy John, and it was like, how am I going to break him in? What do I got to do? And John's response was, just kick the training wheels off, just take him on a road. So Rick took me up the, I want to say Nahatlatch. I don't think it was a Nahatlatch. Maybe it was a Nahatlatch. Anyways, it was up behind the Squamish Inn, and we were going, and the first thing I noticed was like, oh, it's alive underneath me. Like, there's a lot of wiggle down there. Like, it was very unsettling for, like, okay, I've only just started doing this. I've only been on a bike for a couple of months. And then to feel the bike. And then he just said, you lead whenever you stop, we'll stop. And I just kept, like, you don't know what you don't know, and you haven't had a fall. So I just kept going up and up and up and up and up. And finally I got to the end of a road. Was like, I don't feel comfortable going any further. And he was like, oh, dude, I figured you'd have stopped like miles back. And it's only in recent times where I would say I would do that road again. I had a good off early the next year because then fall came, and I had a good off, and I think I cracked a rib. I know that I scared my brother because all he heard on comms was me go, "Oh, fuck," and then going, oh, I can't breathe, because
Oh,
I had
yeah.
I had a rock in my ribs, and he's trying to pull me out from under the bike. So I'm like, no, I'm not pinched. I can't breathe. I need a minute, and then that shook my confidence for a little while, because I was on the bike on seat, which was a mistake. I should have been standing, but on seat, feet on pegs, hands on grips, and the next minute I was in the exact same position, laying on my side with the bike with a rock in my rib. And that's where the lessons started, like really started to pay closer attention to, like, okay, like, grip the bike with your knees or try to steer with your feet and shift your weight and stand up and don't slow down. It's like that was a huge counterintuitive. It's like, no, little momentum is going to be your friend on certain things.
Yeah, it's funny how riding styles are so much different, especially if you come from like the road. A lot of people try to, start on the road and they get into the dirt or they get into adventure riding and it's a different beast when when you're standing up and steering with your feet and learning all that, and especially getting in the gravel, the dance that the bike does, and then the throttle and just where you want to be and letting that back end kind of sneak out from behind you and be like, no, that's okay. you know
Well, and I'll jump in on that. I've always thought, for somebody who's ridden dirt and black diamond single tracks, those were just something I did all the time. And then the first time I got a dual sport and I'm trying to do 40 miles an hour on a gravel forest road felt strange.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. I mean, I'd ridden all the trails that intersected across that road forever, but I had never just gotten on the road and bombed down the road. And so here was somebody with, decades of experience, and I didn't have a friggin' clue.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So get lost, find yourself last year. Of course, we were out. We didn't know that Trav had his crash until we got back to
crashed?
camp. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember we were coming across one of those bridges after it had rained, and I just remember, like, okay, there's totally different street for you. I remember thinking to myself, okay, more than anything, and I've learned this lesson the hard way. Look where you want to go.
Yeah.
I remember, so the CRF, I bought it in 2021. In 2020, over that Christmas, I put on the guards but day one, first day out, Rick and I went out for a ride, had a good day, and he goes, "Yeah, there's another little place where the dirt racers go, like the actual MX riders." And he goes, "We can get into a little bit, we can play around, but to get into it, you got to go over a little knob that has a little bit off angle, and it's got lock blocks on either side of it, and it's made specifically wide enough for a bike to get through, but not a car." And I target locked on a lock block, and I drove my bike right into it. And if I didn't have the crash bars, I would have like just destroyed the left side of the bike. And
Right.
that's something that I've noticed. Like, like, God, like, look where you want to go. So I remember when I was going over that bridge, and I was like, okay, there's a 12 by 12, no guardrail, and a very long drop that's going to end poorly, or there's a rail, then if you slip into that, it's going to go pear-shaped on you. So you have this like 2.5, 3 foot wet wood deck that's a couple 100 feet long that you got to ride over. I just remember like just looking at the other side and being like, get to the other side, don't look around, don't touch the throttle, just cruise over it.
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds like a sketchy situation for sure.
If you go to my Get Lost, Find Yourself video, someplace back there, right near the end of that, like I filmed going over it and I panned the camera around, and if you were looking at me, I was just like just like just target locked on success on the other side of the bridge.
You're like, I am just gonna stay stacked on. Yeah, I don't know. I got your page up over here. I might be able to find it here in a minute.
You got any new photos to show?
No,
Out.
well, it's all the same kind of people, still think, oh, Tracy was on. We could have brought hers back up again.
Nice outfit, though, by the way. That Metallica shirt rocks.
It does.
Totally. Did I put
Actually,
something in the chat? No.
I was telling you why that Ride the Lightning is one of my favorite albums. I remember 15th birthday. My brother's birthday gift to me when I was 15 was to take me for a ride in his car, which, as I established, like to get a ride from Rick
Right.
was a
Yeah.
thing. And he had this. My mom had this 1970 Chevelle wagon, so muscle car front end, family truckster back end, and it was a pretty cool car. And Rick had made the dragon wagon out of it, which was sort of like cool. And I remember he took me out for a drive, and that album was playing, and more than anything, For Whom the Bell Tolls, that song and that moment with my brother in his car cruising around has stayed with me. I can't hear that song and not thinking about sitting in that car cruising around with my brother and being like, oh, so this is what it's like to be one of the cool big kids. So
It's rad. That is really cool. So my initial introduction to Metallica was Ride the Lightning. So that album to me as well has a bit of a good meaning to me too, because I remember I was in like somewhere around the third grade. My mom lived over in this town called Westland, had this house, and I remember when I walk out of my bedroom, right off to my left was this little tiny bathroom, right? And it was teeny tiny. It was almost like a closet, right? But this is back in Aquanet days, and my sister, like, her hair was probably this wide, and like her bangs
turn
were
sideways to get
like,
through a door.
oh yeah, dude. Like she would get up to the 7-foot door and have to like duck, you know. But anyways, she was getting ready one day, and I don't know if she was calling me Shorty then or what, but she calls me Shorty now. And um I was walking out of my bedroom, which the 80s, right? So you have the little silver boom box and you had the tape in there. Right. And she's like, hey, I want to play something for you. I want you to listen to this or whatever. So I stopped and I kind of stepped into that bathroom. And she's like, okay, and she presses play. So if anybody knows Metallica Fight Fire with Fire, the way it starts, it's very like classical, right? And it's down, 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 and I was just kind of listening to it, and I was totally like, what the hell is this? Kind of, I specifically remember like, what is she playing for me? But then at the end of that, when it holds that chord, and then the distorted chord kind of fades in under it, and it turns into the thing, and then it's just fast double picking and stuff. I was like, Hooked on Phonics worked for me. That hook, line, and sinker, metalhead from that point on.
Yeah.
And then she hated me for a long time because she's about 5 years older than me, and she would go to school or whatever. I would go into her room and steal a tape. Like I would just find like some music like Judas Priest or Ozzy or Metallica or Megadeth or whatever. I just started stealing these tapes and just like, oh, they're mine now.
It's
She
it's
gets so pissed. Where did this go? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm listening to it. I gotta go.
it's
I get
awesome that
control.
you say tape because there are whole generations that don't understand the value of a big ballpoint pen.
Oh, yeah, right?
Like,
Get it wound
hear
up
that,
and get it.
oh shit, get it out! Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's eating the tape.
Yeah, it's eating the
Oh my
tape. Or
God.
sitting around making your own fake radio station tape just because you were
Oh, yeah.
bored and feeling stupid.
Well,
But
there.
you mentioned the Ghetto Blaster.
Oh,
My
yeah.
brother,
Oh my God.
I can't remember how old we were. Like my brother, so my family, my dad is a troublemaker. Like if he sees that thread, he'll pluck at it until he gets you going, and then he'll just sort of ride that wave until you get frustrated and walk away. Rick will do it. I have it too. I think of the three of us, I'm the one that's willing to hold back a little. But if Rick gets on you, A, it means he likes you. B, it like hold on because he's gonna poke. But Rick, I don't know how he knew what it was. Like we had both asked for ghetto blasters, but Rick had asked for one, and I had asked for something a little bit different for Christmas. And mine, the way it had been packaged, the speakers were not attached. Like it wasn't like one long brick box. It was like the speakers were packaged in front of it, so the box was almost like a cube. So my brother coming up to Christmas, he'd go like, "Yeah, I saw what Mom and Dad got you." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I hope you like your microwave." I said, I beg your pardon? He goes, oh, they got your microwave. And I didn't believe him. And then Christmas morning, I get up, I walk out, I look under the tree, and there's this like cube-shaped box, and I'm like, oh, he wasn't kidding. They got me a bloody microwave.
Microwaves. I love it. No. What do we got? Master of Puppets concert in 8th grade.
Oh,
Dude, I
yeah.
forgot about Metal Church. Yo, I totally forgot about that band. Holy hell bags. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
See,
That is some pretty good stuff.
we
It was
grew up in,
Ozzy. It was Ozzy. It was Metallica, Master of Puppets opening up for Ozzy on that tour. Yeah. It was 87 or something like that. 88 was the first time I saw the boys. Yeah. Second time. I don't know. It's old. I've
see,
seen them a lot.
we grew up in a time where if parents tried to do what our parents got away with today, they'd have their children taken away. I've talked to my kids about this. They said, well, what was it like when you were a kid? I said, okay, here's the setting. I'm in grade 8. Rick was in grade 10. Who did we see that? That was Iron Maiden, and Guns N' Roses was opening, and Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction it was out, but it had not yet. They were the opening for Iron Maiden in the Pacific Coliseum. So I'm like, what, 12, 13, Rick's maybe 16, get on a bus, go into the big city, go to this big headbanger like Iron Maiden concert, sit there, come out, I'm certain high to some degree because the building was just a cloud, get back on the bus and come home and not hear anything for the next day. And our parents would just be like, did you have fun, kids? Like, that was it. If you let your children do something like that now, they'd take them away.
Yeah, for real. I mean, who would let their kids go see Guns N' Roses? That is pure child abuse.
You know what? Appetite for Destruction, when it came out, it was a pretty good album.
Yeah, it was. It's just 30 years later, overplayed and drives me crazy now. Yeah.
Because
So
I remember at the time, like Rick was like, yeah, I done like, I went to the record store and I got the album. It's pretty good. I was like, oh, that's not bad. But
yeah, that's pretty rad. Dude, I'm still tripping out over Metal Church. I completely forgot about that band. Yngwie Malmsteen. Oh, all those crazy guys. People like Yngwie who? Yeah.
120-minute
like that all the
tapes.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that one of the things that this generation doesn't understand too is falling in love in the 80s or whatever, right? Because then you would make your girl the mixtape. That's how Sean got Daisy. He was like on board a ship and just started recording. Baby, this is Sean in the Pacific Ocean. Next up, is this the love with Whitesnake? I don't think he believes me right now. This is how normal Sean is. He's completely ignoring me texting on his phone. He's like, yep, Ian's talking again.
No, I was actually adding some Soup Dragon songs to my Apple playlist. Thanks, Critter. But yes, I was ignoring you.
Well, yeah, that's good. That's good. One of the things, though, I wanted to bring back up, and it was right here. So this was a pleasant surprise. McWilkie's over in Port Alice, BC, part of the Get Lost, Find Yourself. And the owner, Mick Wilkie, he and I have been pretty friendly in the chats. I was up there, and he and I, when we stopped there, we just wanted to know the group I was with. Let's see, Sean was freaking hangry that day. He was getting super hangry.
I did turn from a just fun guy ride to I need food and I need it now. Stop effing around.
That's the PG story that you're gonna get. But we were out there. Let's see, it was Lance, Aaron, my dad, you, and I.
Well, we had Lance and we had Owen.
Oh no,
we had
that was the 6. So there were 6 of us. So yeah, Lance, Aaron, Pancakes, you, myself.
Oh, and Brittany.
And Owen. Yeah, and Brittany was following in the car taking pictures. And we were getting in Port Alice, and we were just, like I said, Sean was being difficult. And
he's not wrong.
He was hungry. He didn't have a proper brekkie.
I was at the edge of my
Yeah, you were.
tolerance for food.
So we wanted to know. Somebody said there was. Well, they didn't say food cart. They said there's a place for burgers and stuff in town.
Yeah.
So we weren't looking at the harbor for a food cart. We were looking on the other side of the road for like a brick and mortar kind of building, and we rode all the way through town. And Port Alice is only like 3 blocks long, right? It's not very big. So we went through there and we couldn't find it. So we turned around and we came back and we finally figured out it was the food cart. So we go down into the port right there or in the harbor or whatever where the boat launch is and went in. And the owner, we just kind of were talking a little bit. And I put him in my video and I was like, hey, man, do you mind if I film and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he was in there. So from that point on, we just kind of followed each other on the socials, and then it's been kind of like in the comment section and back and forth in some of the DMs or whatever. Have been kind of chummy. And dude, some of his food up there looks freaking amazing right now. So one of the things Critter and I were talking, well, I brought up to Critter, I was like, hey, you should go check this guy out if he wants to do some sort of a, sponsorship for Get Lost this year. And he was like, oh, make it happen kind of thing. So I ended up messaging him, and he was actually on vacation down in Mexico. And I said, hey, you want to do this, maybe just give like a discount of like 10% or something. And he just came back like immediately done 20%. I was like, okay, that's rad.
Nice.
So he's an official sponsor now. And anybody from Gilfie that's going over there is going to get the 20%. And I don't know if I'm letting the cat out the bag. I think there is a Get Lost burger that he's going to do.
That's cool.
So yeah, it might be pretty rad. So if anybody is riding through Port Alice anytime, but especially on the Get Lost Find Yourself event this year, make sure 1,000,000,000% go to McWilkie's food cart, support that dude. And it was freaking delicious last year.
I want Rick to explain the tackle box.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Well, I'm assuming the tackle box has to do with McWilkie's. So is that like their little kids meal?
He's like, wait, what?
It
Look, 2 comments above. He just said, I just want a tackle box.
Yeah.
Gilfie. I can't say Gilfie.
Well, you did.
I don't know.
My mind went south.
Yeah, mine does too. And
Okay.
anyways, we'll just put it.
Have you been out there, Chris? To
Port
McWilkie's?
Alice?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Well, I've been to Port Alice. I've never been to McWilkie's. It's on the to-do list. I'm actually, I messaged Critter about 20 minutes before the show started that I was killing time. I just made my ferry reservations. So I'm coming over on the Tuesday, on the 3rd. And I'm deliberately coming early to pick off some of the stuff that I really, that mine and some of the caves, there's stuff I was like, I totally want to go do that, but I also want to join. So we didn't do the larger group rides. Rick and I and Spencer and I can't think of his name. Steve. We took off on our own because if you guys recall, we were up and gone, and I was just Jones, and I was like, I came here to ride. I want to ride, and we took off before most people got up, and we ended up doing our own thing. And I'd like to see a little bit more of the group dynamic than just around camp. So I'm definitely going up early, see some of the cool stuff, and then try to hang back with the cool kids. Mind you, with the size of the group, there'd be a whole bunch of new friends to make.
Yeah, Critter, check your text. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of the good rides, and you were saying, tell me about that ride when you and your bro went out and just did your own thing that day. Where did you guys end up going?
Well, actually, we were going to do one of the loops that took us out to the mountainous edges on the west side of the island, look down on the inside passage. Unfortunately, there was a washout, and Steve had an off just before that. So if you're watching my Gliffy video, you'll see we go whistling over a bridge, and then all of a sudden it was like it'll flash like washout, which is like a water diverter. Like that's what I call it. Like it's like the water bar. Sorry, not a washout, a water bar. So it's like water bar, boom, and I hit that one doing like 50 or 60K, and then like 100 feet up the road, there's another one. So it was like boom, boom, and by the time we got up on a level road, I'd lost count at like 20 of these stupid effing water bars. And somewhere along that way, when it got up on level ground, Steve, he was the guy with the big Norden. Hello, puppy. He had an off. So we got him up, and he seemed okay, and I was looking at what we had stopped at when we turned around and noticed that he was laying on the ground. And it was a washout, and it was passable, but it was just outside of my comfort zone with last year's riding experience. So I said, no, I don't want to do that. So we came back down, and we ended up down in, I can't, oh man, my brain has just gone for mush today. We ended up down in the little fishing village where the whale watchers are. Why can I not think of the name of that little outport? Anyways, so we ended up there. We had dinner, and then we carried on, and we went back over to the side of the west side of the highway. And I was leading, and I took us up this rabbit hole road that just seemed to go to nowhere. And finally, we were like, yeah, this road's just going to go and go and go and go and go, and it's going to get late soon. So we turned around and came back, and that was our day. That was the one thing, and I talked to Chris about it, that the routes that were provided, I'm certain were passable, but they hadn't all been recently proofed to see if they were like skill level rideable for beginners or whatever, anything like that. So, and that was my one constructive criticism. Like, loved the ride, but the route that we had said that we should have been able to do this, and it was passable if you're a more experienced rider. But I said no, and the guys, full credit, Rick, Steve, and Spence, as it's full props to anybody you're riding with, where it's like, okay, the second somebody goes, no, there was no ego, there was no browbeating, there was no trying to push. It was just like, I said, I'm not comfortable with that, guys. And they just said, right, okay, turn around, plan B, where are we going? Which took all the pressure off me from saying, I don't think I want to do that.
Well, now that I just removed him off the stage, I'm going to bring him back again. Sean was no. What? Anyways,
I need to take your admin rights away.
Maybe. Did we get onto a road that we were supposed to go through that ended up not going through?
Yeah, we ended up in a similar situation, and we have dubbed that road Ian's Revenge. After like Hell's Revenge in Moab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting route. It's one of those, the adversity in hindsight was a lot of fun.
That was one of my favorite rides I did last year. Honestly, I did a lot of really rad rides, honestly, but for whatever reason, the adventure of that one, and then just going up that steep hill and then getting to the end, and you're just like, oh, that was kind of cool.
Well, the thing was, we didn't understand we were off the track until then we come to a stop after this difficult mile of just straight uphill.
Right.
And wait, where'd the track? We both looked out at our screens, and I think we each heard each other on comms be like, well, where'd the route go?
What?
Like, there was no color on my map. There was no little line that I was even, like, it wasn't even visible on the screen.
Right.
You were following a contour line.
Yeah, we really were. We were following something, and it was just kind of a good situation. And then when we got back down, I put it in the video. When you got down, you can definitely tell why we missed that road. It was like the road kind of wide, and so the main road just veered to the left a little bit and just went up this awesome hill climb. But off to the right, it was just completely overgrown, and like an old tank trap was sitting there, like you can't go this way anymore. And it was just like, there's no way. And I think I made the comment, like, we could do like the General Lee.
Well, and there were giant boulders there too. And
That's right, yeah.
And had we taken that route at the other end, which was probably, 6 or 8 miles further where we were going to meet the rest of the group, wasn't there like a 30-foot washout on that end?
Yeah. Critter's making fun of me via text now.
Well, good. He should.
I'm stupid. It's fine.
The General Lee
in the chat.
Yeah.
So
We're on sidebar here.
back in the days when I was four wheeling, I had a tiny little truck and it wasn't especially powerful or anything, and I used what was dubbed the Greyhound approach. And the Greyhounding, and it works like it's applicable really to anything. Is take a good enough run, hold on tight, you'll get up that. Just because if you could get a Greyhound bus up any road with a good enough run.
I think we need to talk to Scott about that one.
Well, and I think for us, the this part was that we didn't realize we had left the path.
Yeah.
You know, we were probably a mile past that Y junction, and we were kind of so into the moment. It was so intense, standing up, trying to keep your bike up, ripping, that none of us were looking down at our dash or our GPS or anything. That was the last thing on my mind. There's one road, I'm on it. Oh, it's not the right road.
Right. Well,
We didn't know it till the end.
The biggest fault of that is y'all were just blindly following me.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're like, "Yeah, we'll follow him. Let's go." Yeah.
And not the first time we've made that mistake.
What? Wait. What? Come on now. It can't be just. Okay, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, Rick's phone's gonna die.
What?
It has been fun. I'm glad you were here, Rick, to keep your brother honest. Great Lego story, by the way.
Yeah, that's not Lego. Dude, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Super happy you were here, man. And you stopped by. Oh boy, look who just showed up, kids.
Oh
What?
man, Owen's in the house, and
Wow.
you know what? I'm glad you're here, Owen. The problem is that I'm like down to 26% on my battery, so it's like okay, I'm holding on for a while, but
Okay, so we're kind of talking shit a little bit about the get lost, find yourself. I'm gonna say it, however I want to say it there, Critter.
The
So-
Gilfy routes.
Yeah, the Gilfy routes.
constructive criticism,
No,
like it was.
no. Here's the thing. We're gonna have to find out exactly what's going on right now. Okay, so there's no better person to bring on to help us out to solve these route issues rather than Critter Modo.
Hey,
Gosh,
All right, you bastards.
hey, buddy.
we have Chris and Chris in the house.
This is really how we're going to
Hey.
start. Hi, you bastards.
Chris, no wait, this hand. Hey, Chris.
There you go.
Got to shake.
Oh,
No, other hand.
Totally
does that work for you on my screen? That doesn't fly.
don't know where we're going.
Here's a story
the Brady
about a
part.
lovely lady. No, just kidding.
He's bringing up some very ugly
yeah.
girls on the screen.
Yeah. So we're talking about routes for Gliffy. So, right now, this weekend, Carl is up North Island right now. Carl Jenkins, Wet Leather, Dirty Rubber on Instagram, and he's up there route planning right now as we speak. And then the plan is to have myself, Summer, and Kevin head up next weekend and get some more routes. Last year, so in context, where we live, Get Lost Find Yourself is 4.5 to 5 hours away from where we live. So it's hard for us to get up there, to find a weekend, a day to get up there and route plan. So last year, a lot of the route planning was basically looking at Backroads map books and going, this looks kind of cool, and we'll try and ride that. We wrote a portion of them, but this year we're definitely looking at doing more. What does that say? You're distracting me.
70-40 Oregon suntan oil.
There you go. So this year, anyways, what's going to happen is we'll have sign-up sheets for lead rides, and we'll have descriptions for them as well, saying whether they're a beginner-friendly route, a big bike-friendly route, a gnarly route, only take this if you're experienced, that kind of thing. And what I would like to see, now I am completely swamped with work and feeling the stress of getting this thing like I said, it's 5 hours away. It's not just a quick jaunt up there and go take a look and then come back. But I'm trying my best to get at least 10 routes together with the descriptions and the terrain, what to expect, how long. We're trying to get, basically a third of those would be day routes. A third of those would be half-day routes, because we do have whale watching tours this year as well. So for those of
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Rad.
Yeah, there's
How do you
there's
not know?
Are you not reading your emails? So
They're not coming to the right one, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, there's whale watching with Prince of Tides. They're a sponsor as well. And
It's not a movie.
No. A sponsor, Leaving Out of Telegraph Cove, which was an answer to the little cove that Chris couldn't remember the name of.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
One Chris helping another Chris. Here we go. Anyways,
Good job, Chris's.
yeah. Hey, Chris's rock. Wait, where's Knuckles? This
Do
way.
that. Is that
There.
right?
No, other way.
Oh, I got it. There it is.
There we go.
I just fisted Chris.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, we just upped the ratings for tonight, I think, too.
I don't
Okay.
know about that
Gotta go.
one. Okay. So you're having some lead route. So critter.
Yeah.
Please tell me, you're going to have the JC rating system for these routes.
We will. I will make it a point
Good night,
to
everybody.
do that. And what we will do is at the sign-up sheets for all the rides is we will have the JC rating written out. So, you can look at that and go, I think I can do a 2 JC ride. Read the description. Yeah, I can do that. And then away you go. So we'll have that all there, and then we'll have the rating done, and yeah, should be good.
I love it. That'd be pretty good. Who's going to be some of your leaders?
Some of the leaders. Well, this real doughy guy, what's his name? Pancakes is gonna lead one. So for those of you that want to go on a real comical, crazy, nutty ride, then sign up with Ian. Kevin will be leading one. Carl will be leading one. I'll be leading something, and anybody who is watching in the chats that maybe wants to lead, shoot me an email and volunteer to be a leader. No, wrong. You got to go that way.
No, I'm pointing. Well, okay, yeah.
There you go.
Right here. If you have a ride that is very lots of turn signals, no roundabout, nothing too crazy,
completely groomed, nice and smooth, a couple of Starbucks every 100 feet or something.
I mean, Tim Hortons.
Well, I was going to say, this guy's will absolutely, I think, in the ride description needs to suggest to people that it will live up to the name of the event.
That's right.
Get lost, just find yourself.
That's right.
Owen's just stepped up and said that he'd lead.
Oh, right on, Owen. Excellent. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Bringing the gang all back together.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see everybody there this year. I'm
man.
Again.
I am I am literally counting the days. I cannot wait. Like it's going to be amazing. Yeah, like 100 of us there. It's going to be something else.
We're gonna have to work to fold the new kids into the class, because
I think so. Yeah.
Because this is so there was 40 odd people, and at least 30 of us have really tightened up.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's like it just drifted my. I was like, I would feel bad for those people that are coming for the first time. They'd be like, yeah, there was like this clique of 30, and it was really hard to get. It's like, no, it's not hard to get in, but we have history, and that's the one thing is you'd be consciously turn outside of the group and say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
that's
a very good point.
It's a good point, but I'm going to counter that because I think a lot of the people here are just super cool and super rad and very approachable, and the way that Critter is aware of the clicks, and trying to get rid of that, and by doing, the fires with everybody. There's
Yes.
no individual fires. Everybody comes together around that fire and just mix it up and sit around. And I think I think people sometimes, like Critter, I mean, you're crushing YouTube right now, and your subscriber base, like every time I get on your channel, I'm just like, wow, you're grabbing 500, 1,000
I
at
don't
a
know.
pop, and it's like, I think sometimes that seems like this is your event, this is your channel, and you're like the rock star, right? You're that guy walking around, and I think sometimes it could be very. We've all seen it. The people that just kind of, hey, hi, Critter, hi, hey, how are you doing? I'm in your head right now, hey boy.
Can we massage his head?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's just it's very you're very approachable, and I think, like other Chris, you're saying, like, there's a core group of like 30 of us, which is, I totally agree with, but as long as that 30 is open and we're very embracing everybody else to allow everybody in,
I wasn't at all suggesting, because like the truth of it is, if the group wasn't as open and encouraging as it was, Rick and I, like remember I was talking, like, we're the nuclear family is really tight. We don't generally trust easy, if that makes sense to you. Like, we'll talk to anybody, but if we're going to call you a friend, like when I was a kid, so I've got dyslexia, and this, you guys might actually like the story. Friend was a word that I struggled with, and I remember I learned to spell it, and that is 2 words. It's fry and end. And a true friend will be there with you to fry to the end. And so the fact that the group was like, because you guys, like, so the nuts, you guys are clearly a really tight little family. And everybody was so welcoming and saying, yeah, come on in, chat. And you're right, the dynamic at the fire pit was unreal. Not at all what I expected. And it was really good for building that bond and building that connection. And Chris greet, like when we rolled up and Chris was there to greet us, shake our hands and say, hey, welcome aboard, like, glad to see you. That really made me, that was like almost like the initial hug, like, I'm here and he's here and I'm talking to him, and like, this is like, it's just a group, and then to see you, Ian, and to bump into the other personalities, and it's like, wow, there's some really talented riders and experienced people, and they are so chill and so cool and so happy to coach and teach and share their life experience. It was really welcoming, which is why I was like, okay, like, these are my people. Like, I love them.
Yeah, it was, and I think I got to admit, while you're here, you and your brother Rick, we were sitting around talking over there, and it was the first time for me that people were like, hey, Pancakes, how you doing? I watched this video and this video, and then I was like, oh, that's cool, they watch my videos. And then we were having just a regular conversation one day, and I think it was your excuse me, I think it was your brother. He started talking about one of the older videos, and I was like, in my head, I was like, holy shit, they do watch the videos, and like, watch the videos. I thought that was really, really a cool moment.
Yeah, Rick actually had a Pancakes moment at, I can't remember, he was at some fair festival or something, and he walked up, he was wearing a Pancakes shirt, and he walked up to a food cart or a vendor or something like that, and the young lady that was running, and she looked and she goes, you're a Pancakes fan? And he goes, you're a Pancakes fan? She goes, yeah, I got to wear my work shirt. I'm a total Pancakes fan. Like, total random person in BC, and it's like, all of a sudden they were like making this big connection over Rick's shirt and Ian's channel. And it was like,
man,
you famous.
Did you say? No, wait. Did you say young lady?
Yes.
Oh man, all I'm getting is like old dudes. Like, I wish to have a young lady be my fan.
Oh man,
I didn't see it, but Rick was telling me about it. He was like, hey, it was the craziest thing. I was like, doing this thing, and next thing I know, this girl and I are talking about motorcycles and the people, and of course, Critter came up and the other, because the online bromance is, if you pay attention and you watch the videos, you can't not know that it's a thing.
Real with this one.
So,
Stopping you.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was thinking, like, okay, with a group that big is, at least for me, because I've got familiarity with you and I've got familiarity with you and I've got familiarity with Sean. I've got familiarity, even though like we don't physically see each other, well, ever really, but we've had offline conversations with depth and there's been personal exchange. So for me, it's going to be one of those consciously, okay, swivel to the people that aren't familiar and make them part of the family.
That's right. And you know, and to, you know, get kind of like serious on that, out of last year's attendees, there are only 4 that are not returning. And so that'll be up to 41 of us to embrace the other 59 that will be there. So it's almost a 1 to 1.5 ratio of just shaking a hand and saying, hey, come share a beer, come share a story, come share a seat. And I think it's going to be, I think it'll be pretty awesome, pretty powerful.
And I think it's a good point that you brought this up, Chris, though. You know, when you plan an event like this, the leadership is so focused on the routes and the food and the location.
Oh, yeah. They're busy.
But some like this whole topic is just an outstanding thing. And some of us may do it naturally, others may not. But even Critter, you send out kind of some emails to everybody that's attending, encouraging that is a really positive aspect. I remember last year that was kind of one of my big takeaways, and I could easily see myself, you know, possibly falling into I'm hanging out with, you know, Carl because I remember him from last year, and ignoring the people off in the corner, and that's not how we should be doing this.
Right.
Yeah. The people that for me, so I had familiarity with Pancakes through Rick bringing him to my attention, and Critter as well. I didn't have a lot of familiarity with most of the other people that were going to be there.
Yeah.
And, you know, sitting at the table, having breakfast across from Sean, talking about life experiences, and then Lance beside us, and Owen and his generosity for evening lubrication. And
Good old Owen.
I had a good chat with Trav before he left. And there's like, I talked to Britt a little bit. I talked to Steph a little bit. I hardly talked to Scott. I hardly talked to Misty. I didn't talk to Kevin a whole lot. And those are my regrets, is like, there's a whole group of people there, because for me, it felt very, very short, that I just barely started to scratch the surface of start to build a familiarity with somebody. And then I was gone. So the longer event I'm excited for. And building more structure onto the relationships that I've already established, I'm looking forward to as well.
Well,
exactly. And that was,
go ahead.
Sorry. That was one of the main reasons why we extended the duration this year, was to give people like more of a chance to meet everyone and to hang out and to get to know one another. So definitely, like you say, it definitely needed to be a longer, the first one. So with the next one being an extra day of just hanging out and riding, I think those regrets will be held to a minimum.
Yeah. I'm so stoked about it.
I think these group rides too are going to give people a chance to kind of bond, because you know, through the group ride, we're going to stop, we're going to have lunch, we're going to talk, and there's probably going to be people in there that, you know, Critter, I think when you lead, there's going to be people that are coming up and like, holy crap, I want to go ride with Critter, right? And give them that experience. And then they get however many you're going to cap on these rides, you know, you get to go out and experience a day with these people. And then I get to do the same. Carl gets to do the same. Kevin gets to do the same. And, you know, Sean maybe able to do the same, you know. And then when you come back, it's almost like you just integrated more people into that circle. You know what I mean? I think it's fantastic.
You did. And you can tell me I'm using the wrong word. I don't think I am. Your celebrity and your humbleness with it, it carries a lot of impact. Like when you meet you, right? If that makes sense to you. Because you guys probably are going, I'm not a celebrity, but you are. Like, no way around it. People watch you, they look up to you, they care what you have to say. That's why they're subscribing and paying attention, why they want to be around. So to have that opportunity to meet somebody that's an icon, it means something. Like it has an immediate personal impact. So
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. That point. I mean, I think all of us know, kind of in this circle, have met several kind of YouTubers that are, when you look at the national statistics, I mean, they're top influencers, but they're super approachable.
Yeah.
And I know in my own circle, I've had some conversations with some of the guys that I ride with the most that I remember one time back on the ship, we were having an admiral visit, and the couple of the guys around me were getting really nervous. And our boss basically looked at him and said, "Man, he gets out of bed in the morning and puts his pants on the same way you do. Don't sweat him."
Yeah.
And and at the end of the day, that's true. And same with some of the YouTubers. I mean, well, Chris is an example, and let's use some of his history. The fact that he shared some of those vulnerabilities that he had has, in my opinion, it's elevated my opinion of him. It's also elevated him in the community, because he's shedding light on a topic and showing his vulnerability, and I think that draws more people in. He's approachable, and you can talk to him about things, and that's how several of these other YouTubers are as well.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna agree
100%.
with that. I think it. I hear what you're saying about the celebrity thing. I don't see it. I just want to be me. And when I meet people, I'm always just, if you watch my stuff, I just want to be super gracious because I'm just being me. I think that different of approach, of just being people is really probably, I don't know. I just makes me uncomfortable to hear the celebrity word.
You see right there though, Ian, that is my argument in a nutshell, is that you guys, it hasn't got, like, there's no ego. Like, that was the thing. Like,
Yeah.
Scott and Steph, and I'm using them because I've been watching their stuff, like, obviously this year, and there's so many really talented riders from Get Lost last year that I'm now paying attention to. People that like I'll look at it and go, like, I look forward to having those riding skills one day. I look forward to seeing horizons like that one day. And it's okay. There's an influence to be had there, but they're just being themselves. They're just like, so you Ian, saying, I don't like being called a celebrity. It's like, okay, fair enough. For me, arriving, seeing Chris, seeing you, going up and chatting, like when I said, hey, can we pose with a photo? Like, to you, that was just like being you. And that is just you being you. But for me, in that moment, that was a little bit like, cool. Because you're no longer just an image on a screen that I'm looking at.
Right.
I'm interacting with.
I get that, yeah.
And you don't get to do that with most people that are entertaining you or that you're following. Like that picture that when I said to Chris, hey, can I park my bike beside Lucy? We get a picture of the two of you. That, to me, was one of those memory moments. Like, aha, I'm here. I'm with the guy. This means something to me. It's a takeaway. And that's where I'm saying, like, you guys have, there's just a really cool down to earthness about it. And I know I'm beating that drum pretty hard, but it's true.
I definitely appreciate that.
Well, and it's a solid point. I mean, and I think for Chris and for Ian, you both are extremely approachable, and you don't see that side that I think Chris and I both do. I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm just, I'm helping you out for this because I know it's your passion, and I enjoy you as a friend, so I'll help you out. But
cheers to that.
But seeing the people that I go home and watch on TV in person and getting to hang out with them at camp is a big deal.
Yeah, because like, who watches TV these days? I don't watch TV.
I know.
No.
I mean, I've got movie channels I watch, and I got YouTube. And I got a bunch of people who I live vicariously. Now, granted, I live vicariously through you guys, but I know that I have friends that are living vicariously, like, watching my stuff, because they've told me as much. But there were so many other takeaways, like Owen and Matt were the surprise.
Yeah.
Didn't see them coming out at like, because Owen was just he's just the quiet guy in the corner doing his
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Till he's
if
not.
if if you engaged him, he was very like like what a gracious guy.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
But Owen surprised me and Matt. It took me a minute to figure Matt out. I was like, who is this guy? He's really engaging. And he's clearly like he's got all his crap in one sock and he's organized and going down the road in the right direction. And then like just to get to know him and talk to him, I was like, man, there's so many cool people. Like I said, and then I could start going and Val or Brittany, Valkyrie, like watching her ride. They're like, okay, tall man. I'm a coach. No, let Misty teach her.
Yeah.
No, I'm a coach. No, let
Yep.
Misty teach her.
Yep.
Speaking of which, Critter, are you building those boxes this year? What are they for? They're to help small man get on his motorcycle. Like actually get his leg over and step up. Have you decided to do like multiple boxes or like steps, or are we doing something like old school where he steps on it, then you and I have to push down and lift him up?
No, we're
How's
actually
this gonna work for him this year?
I you know what? I've already mapped it in my head. It's real easy.
we're actually going high tech this year. We're bringing in a whole bunch of sky hooks.
Oh, nice. I thought we could do it like in the movies. We just put a rope. And so he can just ride under, hold the rope, swing up, come back, and drop down.
You're still overthinking it, guys. All you got to do is dig a tiny little trench just wide enough for the bike that you can ride it down into.
There you go.
The ground level will be higher.
Just wide enough for the handlebars. So it
Just so the bike, when it gets off, it doesn't just goes. That's it.
I think Kirk just fell on the floor.
I feel bad actually. Poor Corey. I'll just pick
Poor
him
Corey.
up.
That guy's my hero.
I'll pick him up and put him on the bike.
He's my hero. Look at the bike he rides with a trailer.
I know, right?
I know.
Like-
I'll tell you what, though, if he dresses up as an Oompa Loompa and drives that thing around,
Corey's my hero, though. I tell you, if Corey lived closer to me, he would be
I'm
one of
going
my
to hell for laughing.
100%.
No, he's
100%.
again another one of the reserved gems, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I love Corey, and I give him shit, but it's all good fun. He knows I love him,
I'm surprised he hasn't got on here and started arguing with himself.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
I was just talking to somebody.
And you're getting old having a senior moment.
No, actually, So I just had somebody on the podcast last week. I had Lauren with Ride My Road. Oh my God. You want to talk about a deep podcast about human and sex trafficking. Came out of that one feeling great. It was actually really good. We had lunch and stuff. It was good. Like just
Looking
this
forward to that
great
episode.
conversation. Yeah, it'll be probably a couple weeks out. But I can't remember. I was just talking to somebody about an Africa twin, and they're like, well, I'm too short. I can't have that. And I went, no. I was like, no, there's actually, I know my buddy Corey, and I said, he's about your height, and he has a lowering kit on his Africa twin, and he rides that thing like a boss.
Yep.
It was pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you there for that conversation? I'm like, who the hell was I talking to? I am getting old. Holy hell bags.
Ian's
But it's
talking
true.
to
I mean,
himself again.
Hi, my name's Ian. My name's Ian too. Oh.
I tell JJ that all the time about his GS. Just look at Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quit complaining. Get on the bike.
Yeah, just go. Just go.
Learn the lean. Look at Chris Fan, and how she has to ride. I mean, she's leaning whole butt cheek off to the side when she stops at a stoplight, but she kills it,
Yeah.
Buzz 350.
Yeah, who's this? Buzz 350.
You guys are like OnlyFans stars. I mean, thanks.
Okay. Well,
Woo! This just went somewhere weird. It's all right. Oh,
You can see the wheels turning, right? Like, Huh, how could I make
Yeah,
money
it
off
actually
that?
has.
Yeah,
That could
yeah,
get lost. I think we're all super excited for it.
Oh, see, this is why Sean is so good.
Yeah.
The three of us are all like off on a tangent and sideways, and Sean's like, "All right, boys, come here, kid.
Come on, reel it in, reel it in.
Yeah. Hold hands. Here on. Recess is over."
That's right. Cross when the
Yes.
light is
Hey,
green.
and Tracy made it to Brittany's house. That's good on her new rubber.
Yeah,
Nice.
she didn't get too sleepy slidey. Yeah, we're
Cool.
gonna have to find out
I-
how that Pancakes garage went. That should have been an episode in itself. I should have went up there and filmed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably good you did.
All right. I'm giving you the 10% warning.
Uh-oh.
It's finally the little light has turned red and it's saying, okay, you got a few more minutes, but
You got a few more minutes, and we've been at it for 3 hours and 14 minutes.
It's been
Nice.
a good live.
I know, and I've just been watching the people ticker. And it's
We've
been
had
pretty
multiple.
consistent.
Yeah.
It's just been pretty consistent. So
Well, especially for a holiday weekend. I
Yeah.
think when you asked me about it, well, originally I think you were hoping to do it last weekend, and I reminded you it was going to be Touratech, and
right, yeah, and I was like,
pretty
we
much
can't do
all
it
of
there.
your fans would be at Touratech.
Right, yeah,
Yep.
and then I thought about pushing it out from this weekend until the following weekend originally, but there's so much going on, on the backside. I was just like, I need this to be now. So here we are.
Cool.
We're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun. I always
Well,
enjoy
I've-
these. I'm
I've-
glad to
I've-
get to know Chris a little better.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I've personally enjoyed that for this reason. Like Chris mentioned, we didn't get a chance to meet everybody last year, and he's one of the big regrets that I didn't get to meet and actually spend a lot of time with. And this live, I got to learn more about him. Like, we share similarities, the Sea Cadets and everything, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this guy's pretty cool. So I've enjoyed getting to know more about you. This has been a lot of fun.
oh, thanks, man. Before my battery dies and I get signed off, as opposed to choosing to go, I thought I saw in the description when Sean asked me about the Pit Lake ride. I know Ian sort of expressed an interest, but is something like that might? Yeah, okay, all right. It would definitely be a limited engagement. Like that's not a trip that could take more than 6 to 8 people, because putting the bikes on the boats, the logistics of it, like
Yeah.
footprint
Oh,
wise.
technically, we only got one more person because there's 4 of us here, plus your brother. So sorry, everybody.
I
That's
don't
all
think
right.
you really want to sling load
Yep.
my bike on that.
No,
So-
I don't think so. But
No.
yeah.
Oh, we could always use an anchor.
What time of
I mean,
year?
I
are
was
we
going to say
thinking,
everybody
though?
needs an anchor. Yeah.
What's that, Chris?
What time of year are we thinking? Because rains and
It would be late June.
okay.
So it late June or summer. It's after rain. But what it would be definitely be is, once you commit to going, it's like it doesn't matter what the weather is, we're going. Like because if my brother and I do keep going like we did like a couple of years back when we first wanted to do it, like, okay, we're gonna go this week, and we plan, and then like 2 days before we're like, no, it's off because it's gonna pour rain. If we play that game, you might never go.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, we're just gonna have to suck it up, and if it's wet, put on
Yeah.
your big boy shorts and go and be wet for a weekend.
Yeah.
So
There's some really cool stuff to see up there.
there is one thing with Critter and I doing the journey next year that might late June could be right in that time frame where he and I are gone doing our thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
again, it's just a idea. If that's something that interests you and maybe
Oh,
one or
for
two
sure.
others, then we can definitely look at trying to put it together. Doing it just because of the logistics, doing it for any less than 2 nights is an absolute waste of time.
No. Yeah.
is that something you could do later in the year?
Yep. Yeah, we could totally do. We could look at. See, I don't want to get in the way of Get Lost, so it could be a later summer, like
Yeah,
it could be
late
an August thing.
Yeah. Late August. Do that
Right.
route and then jump over to Get Lost. For
Yeah,
September.
that's something like that. We could
we
definitely
did
look
it-
at that.
Critter, if we did it in mid-August, we can do our event, and then I can come over, do that, and then just go to Get Lost after that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we could try and put that together. There's a lot of moving bits in that, but yeah, we could totally put
Yeah.
that together.
Look at that.
Okay.
Planning rides on a live. Nobody
We-
knows
we-
about this. Stokes
We
and
need to
us.
talk.
Yeah,
We need to
yeah.
talk.
We'll get a group chat going, and we'll get some things figured out for sure.
Yeah.
But-
Absolutely.
There's actually that occurs to me. There's one more person we would actually have to invite.
Spencer.
Oh, okay. Two more. We'd have to. Okay, the votes are full. No, it's
Right.
Britt. If you're gonna go on a ride like that, you gotta have somebody that can take a good picture. Like, no offense, we're all good, but I would say Britt, Val, if you're interested.
Oh, no comment.
Yeah.
I think she's gone.
Well,
waiting.
we'll go on.
He's
No, just
taking care of two pinch flats.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Definitely does. That's crazy.
Anyways, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we'll talk about it faux show.
that's the one thing, is that I'd have to cap it at 8. Like, that would be the absolute hard. Okay.
Yeah,
we're
right.
full.
That would be wild.
I mean,
Faux show.
yeah, absolutely. To be out in the absolute wilderness, like cut off from everything, like it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, because like I said, it's 2 hours of portaging the bikes on a boat up a river and then across a lake
Yep.
to get to the
Yep.
roadhead.
This doesn't suck. Well, we'll definitely have to get into the old chats and get this all figured out.
Cool.
I think we're going to have to figure out, because I know that Critter and I are going to be gone for a minute, so we have to figure out, make sure all the finances are in place for all this, but I am all in. So I'm ready to go. This thing,
Mine doesn't do that.
I know, because you got the good one. It's fine. It's all good. Yeah, well, I think things are kind of maybe winding down a little bit here. 3 hours,
Feels like
20
it,
minutes, 21 seconds. You know, Chris, I really appreciate you taking the invitation, coming on here, giving your
You're welcome.
little bit of life story. And, you know, I really, it means a lot to me that people come on and spend their time, because thing that you can ask of anybody isn't money. I think it's time. And the fact that you gave me over 3 hours this evening, plus a little bit of the sound check earlier, and then kind of going back and forth, just getting things ready. You know, I think I'm just forever grateful for those.
Like I said, don't mention it. For me, it's like, you know, it's a hey, we beat it to death, and we probably always will. Like, there's the family part, and I really enjoy hanging out, and this is a great opportunity for me to get to know you guys better, and to see the conversation. But it's also because I'm so new to this, like having a social media profile like I have, that's a very new thing. When I started just like getting the odd little like just note, or like if I was watching one of the live feeds and it was like, you know, Dirty Destinations and Shoestring ADV are challenging the Fants for the Power Couple of the Year, like in the little string go across the bottom, little jokes. And I was like, Rick and I, we'd be like, hey, we made it into the conversation. Cool. We're part of the cool kids. Like, it's so I really enjoy being invited in to be part of the conversation.
I love it. And you're most welcome. And doing those ticker tapes where I just kind of talk crap about my friends, it's kind of humorous. And I think Sean gets a little old because he's in and out of rehab so many times. But, you know, one day he will possibly beat it for another addiction. And I already have it in mind. So anyways, Critter Meow Meow, thanks for popping on, talking about all the other stuff. Look for Critter and I to probably do a live on his channel, my channel, a channel.
Soon.
About what we got going on next year. And yeah, check out, just stay tuned on everybody's channel, because he has a YouTube. He doesn't have a YouTube.
Well, I do,
but
actually,
check,
but I don't
whatever.
promote it.
Right.
So your YouTube is active like Ian's Facebook.
Yes, exactly.
Not active at all. So I'm trying to find it. You have 126 subscribers, Mr. Chris, right now.
I need to add 27.
And
I can't wait to watch that Jeep video.
The cool thing is, prior to the Iron Butt, I had 28.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's 100 subscribers in a month.
Yep.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Let's get
Heck
this guy to
yeah.
500.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get me over 1,000. I've been stuck in the same like little category for like 6 months. It's
Oh,
all right.
Gotta
YouTube is a
post every
marathon.
videos.
I know. I'm
All
in it
right,
for the
gents.
long run.
It's been an
I'll do that.
absolute slice. I've
Yeah,
really had a
it
lot of
has.
fun.
Yeah, buddy. I appreciate everybody and everybody that spending their time with you. Really appreciate you guys. And stay tuned for whatever's coming next. And I just love everybody to death. And we'll talk to everybody soon. And the end is here. Eat more pancakes. Get out
Okay,
and ride.
bye.
November.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.